There's a lot bad happening.
Oh,
Not bored. I just woke up like 2 hours ago.
I'm proud of you, dude. All right, ready?
That's actually a lie.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Why would you? I'm glad you're honest enough to tell us you're lying.
you're such a good girl.
Should we just start with that? Andrew lying.
Wait, did you just start the record?
I've been recording for about 40 seconds now, and I figured out I was gonna clip the front, but if you're just gonna open with a lie.
All right, so welcome to the end of the year gaming podcast.
Welcome to the Jerry Podcast.
Why do you do it like that?
I don't know. I was always gonna do it some way odd. Welcome to Jerry
Wait,
Podcast.
actually, you know what? Do it one more time.
Okay. Welcome to Jerry Podcast, where we talk about video games. Man,
Good. Now,
2019.
good pause.
Dude, well, I was giving the audience a moment to breathe after that intro. Welcome, and man, we just finished up 2019. Lies, actually, meta. It's not the end of 2019 yet, as we're recording this.
It's basically the
It's
end.
pretty close. But
Listen, if a blockbuster game comes out in the next 3 days, I'll be shocked.
I'll be really mad, and that no one said it. They're gonna do that thing with like Apex Legends, where they just were like, "Hey, by the way, we're announcing this game, Apex Legends. Oh, did we mention it's live?" They're gonna do that, but on like New Year's Eve. But yeah, 2019 in gaming, it was a very interesting year. Goods, bads, highs, lows.
That was very
Death
generic.
Stranding
Ups,
came out.
downs.
Ugh.
Left, right.
There's, there was a lot.
I'll be honest. People complain about other gaming years as far as like remakes and like remasters. I feel like there were like twice as many remakes and remasters as there were original IPs that came out this year.
There were a lot this year. There definitely were. The one thing I do have to give some credit, though, to the remakes that did come out this year. They were all good.
For the most part,
Like they were all pretty good. They weren't really.
Final Fantasy 6 PC.
They weren't just. Oh my goodness. That is tragic. Who in their right tangent? Who in their right mind is like, oh, you know what'd be really great for one of the best RPGs of all time on a PC platform? The mobile version.
Nailed it.
Only Square would be that stupid to release that game and Final Fantasy 15. Ugh. But this is the same company that made Final Fantasy 8, so anything's possible.
Ooh, that's true.
Man.
Yikes.
Anyway, but yeah, so 2019, we have a list of topics that we're going to talk about in this episode of Jerry Podcast. We're going to talk about some of our games of the year, disappointments, excitements for the next year, and some others along the way.
And why Doom Eternal is definitely going to be the game of the year next year.
Can we still get over the fact that Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing New Horizons come out on the same freaking day?
That's a very odd name.
And the internet is great because they're making
Memes
the
about
best freaking pictures of like Doom Guy and Isabel and all this other stuff. It's so much fun. What's like Doom New Horizons or something like that?
Yeah.
And Animal Crossing Eternal.
There's actually something really funny about, you see a lot of games that come out similarly, like a lot of MMOs will do like releases at the same time to try to compete with each other.
Yeah.
The fact that Doom and Animal Crossing are the two competing games on the same.
So there's like this weird irony of it too, where it's like, oh, ha ha ha, they're releasing these like two polar opposite games on the same day. There's no way there'd be a clash of interest there, and yet the entire internet is like, why are you releasing both of these on the same day? It's so funny. Like, you would never think there's a crossover, but yep, there they are. The entire internet's mad about it because they're like, which one do I play first? I don't know. Like I have come to cope with the fact that I am going to have to play Doom first just to get it out of the way.
What?
Because, well, so here's the thing.
So don't say it like that,
Well,
all right?
here's the
You
thing.
sound ridiculous.
Yeah, anyone who's played Animal Crossing, though, totally gets, like, once you're there, it's a hole to dig out of, man. It's bad.
Doom is a game to complete. Animal Crossing is the rest of your life.
Yeah, Animal Crossing is a life to play.
You know how far my experience with Animal Crossing goes?
You saw the box art?
No, I literally watched Andrew play the GameCube version and make wallpaper in his house that looked like Keyblades.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
The problem with Animal Crossing, though, is you're a public servant, and you end up becoming a prisoner of your own village, where it's like you leave for a week, you feel fucking guilty.
And there's this weird thing where I feel like it's like trying to be some sort of like social commentary on capitalism, because like, oh, this guy loaned you a debt or gave you a loan, and now he owns your existence. You want to do anything? That'll be student loans on you.
Right.
That's like the equivalency of it to me.
It's also what it feels like when you move. You move, you don't have a plan. Now you're you're stuck.
Now
you're not going
you're
anywhere.
picking up bugs at trees.
Yeah.
Happens. Happens.
I don't remember that, but okay.
You don't remember getting bugs?
I'm selling them? No.
I've been doing that my whole life. That's not an Animal Crossing exclusive thing. Is it?
I'm so confused.
Well, anyway,
yeah.
we're going to get to 2020 later on in the show. But for now, we should just open this out with the big one.
Oh, God.
The biggest, baddest boy of them all.
Yes, I will marry you.
Why?
All right, completely ignored.
Why? Yeah. Why is Bethesda still making video games? Yep.
Is it bad that I know the Bethesda's bad and I can't remember what games they made this year?
Nothing. But yet they've been in the news like every couple weeks. Just because of Fallout 76. And that game came out last year.
Yeah, that game falls under a topic for later.
How do they pull that off? How do they pull that off? Anyway, so let's talk. So as of hopefully, so this video is probably is going to go up. I'm thinking New Year's Eve. I'm thinking that's probably just the safest bet because it's right before the New Year, and that'll be fun. And around that time, I know personally I have a game of the year or games of the year video coming out. So I think though we should spoil that video, and we should just open up and start talking about some of the games we really liked. We don't have to necessarily go to our game of the year yet, but we can hit there. But without spoiling some of the other categories, what are just some games that kind of stood out this year?
Code Vein.
Yeah,
there's been a long trend. I've talked about this before. There's been a very long trend of clones, especially from the eastern side of the world, that come out that try to copy a medium in gaming. And they're usually awful. The story's awful, the gameplay's awful, the mechanics awful, it's programmed awful, it's usually terrible. Code Vein is literally a Souls clone in the best way possible, where it's literally Dark Souls.
Yeah.
And this is the only time that comparison is allowed, I think. But
Well, I think there's one other game this year we can kind of throw that comparison at.
That's because it's the Souls game.
Well, no. Okay, two other games
yeah,
then.
that's true. No, but Jedi Fallen Order is literally literally Dark Souls. And it's so interesting that we had a new Souls actual From Software game with Sekiro. We had Code Vein, which is very clearly trying to be like an Eastern anime Souls game, and Star Wars Souls. And yet, they all were good.
Yeah.
Not even just good, but great, arguably.
Code Vein, I've had a blast playing that game. It has a really nice... So, one thing I've noticed is the difficulty. When you think of Dark Souls games, they're notoriously difficult with how they do them. The way they did it in Code Vein, whereas the difficulty is actually about the same for the most part. Some of it's a little bit easier. It's not quite as intricate with its design. And like the placement of enemies and stuff, that's still pretty good. But the big thing that tones down the difficulty is you can play the whole game with a CPU like buddy or partner. And that's part of like their system for the game. And like going through trash mobs, like it feels so much better with like a CPU person. I guess, because it works well with the game. They did it well without because it sounds like if you did that in a Souls game where you just always had a buddy that was a CPU, it sounds like it would make it a lot easier, but also wouldn't fit that style. Whereas it does fit for Code Vein,
right?
But it also doesn't detract from the bosses. The CPUs almost seem somewhat like dumb during the bosses, so you actually have to fight them.
They forgot they had hands.
Is it like a fair comparison to say that it's similar to almost like BioShock Infinite, where it seems like it would be a detractor from the franchise having that AI CPU with you, but it actually turns out to be very beneficial, like in BioShock Infinite, where you had what's her name, Elizabeth, follow you around.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that they built the ground up with all the things in mind that they wanted, and they didn't try to add or slap anything on the end. If that makes sense.
Now, how's the NPC? I heard that NPC doesn't shut up.
Well, there's different ones. There's multiple of them.
Oh, I've heard this one guy who doesn't stop talking.
Well, to be fair, all right. So check it out. None of them really stop talking, right?
Okay, sick.
But the good news is you can actually there's a individual volume toggle for that, so you can literally turn off voices outside of combat.
That is incredible.
I'm glad they know. They're like, all right, yeah, people are definitely gonna want to shut these guys up. That's hilarious.
No, the options menu is pretty fucking good for stuff like that.
That's hilarious. We had Randy. Randy. Do you have anyone you want to bring up? Again, we don't have to. Not anyone that necessarily has to be from a category later, but just some games that really stood out this year.
So, I'm not trying to say I'm going to be kind of boring this year.
Good. Be boring. Someone's got to be that guy.
But both of you know, I had a lot go on this year.
It's true.
This is a very busy year for me. So, eat a bag of dicks.
What happened? What special happened?
Well, I got married. So,
your favorite video game? You married your Black Label Final Fantasy VII?
I'd marry Cloud.
Don't tempt me.
I would.
But, yeah, so for those of you who don't know, when you get married, that literally consumes your life until you're married. So...
And then you have another person consume your life.
Thankfully, my wife is very good about just letting games be played because she also plays just as many, if not more. So, I'd say arguably, if I'm going to go off of one that I didn't expect to like as much as I do, and I think Chaz can probably guess what I'm going to say, considering I play it probably every day now, is Call of Duty
Tetris.
Modern Warfare.
I thought it was Tetris.
Yeah, I really like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I didn't think I was going to.
Have you played the campaign yet?
I've played a little bit of it.
I'll be honest, I played the first mission, and it was like, yeah, I'm good. There's just something about COD campaigns that just... I feel like they've not been good in like a decade.
They haven't been good in a long time.
And not even a matter, I guess, of just being not good, but they are so obnoxiously formulaic. Like, there are times where I actually think a sequel just being more of itself is fine. Like Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3, for example. Like, just to bring up the Souls games again, for example. But like, I think more of the same can be okay. But man, those campaigns are just literally identical, like every time through. It's pretty rough.
So
the multiplayer is a lot of fun.
The multiplayer, I think, is the best it's been since probably COD 4. I'm a little contentious as far as like how good Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer actually is. Because I know there's a lot of balance issues that continue to plague that game.
Yeah,
throughout the like 3 or 4 years people religiously played it. But I am that person who thinks there has not been a good multiplayer COD since Modern Warfare 2. I did enjoy Modern Warfare more. I just played Modern Warfare 2 a lot more because by the time Modern Warfare 2 came out, I had only played COD 4 for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months maybe. But I remember buying Modern Warfare and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. I wanted to take a chance on Black Ops 4. And now that didn't happen. That they screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah, so actually we had this conversation, Randy and I did. So I was like leaving to go to California for a week the day Black Ops 4 came out, I think, or like within that week or something like that. And I was talking to some friends while I was in California. They were talking about Black Ops 4 because they'd been playing it, and they were talking about all these things. And I was like, oh, that actually sounds all pretty good. But I was like, nothing was like that final straw for me. And they're like, oh, by the way, gun game is going to be in Black Ops 4. I adore gun game as a game mode. I freaking love it. It's one of the reasons why I still will go back to like Counter-Strike occasionally, just to play gun game.
It's a pretty cool game type.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh yeah, no, actually the gun game game mode is like a week-long event, and then it rotates out, and then it might not be back for like another couple months.
What is this, Splatoon?
Yeah, right. Yeah, all right, what's it, Salmon Rush? Can that just be...
Yeah.
Can that just be like base game mode? Holy cow. But like, so that happened, so it's like, all right, I'm gonna push it off. I won't buy Black Ops 4 just yet. Maybe I'll wait and see like what happens with it. And then within like a week after that, their monetization had
screwed the pooch.
Holy cow, that like went under real fast. By the sounds of it, Modern Warfare hasn't done that really yet.
No.
There's like like the Battle Pass system, I think for a lot of people has been a seemingly good middle ground to
how they could do it.
Yeah, like, yes, there's technically an element of pay to win, I suppose, by getting new guns, depending on how the balance goes. But because it's basically like, okay, you pay to win for a week or so, and then it kind of evens itself out. It's like it's kind of crappy, but it's not horrible. I think that ends up being like the best happy medium you can find.
What
at least on our current day.
What I'm finding as the game goes on, especially with the whole, I mean, I have my own issues with Battle Pass that I'll bring up later. As far as the Battle Pass goes for Modern Warfare, I don't hate it. I'd still like all these, you know, they do blueprints now for the guns where you can earn these legendary blueprints that'll basically give you a gun of that type already with attachments and stuff on it. And there's nothing inherently different about it other than it's typically got a unique coloring or skin to it with the attachments already on it. So in the scheme of it, yeah, you could pay to win and pay to get the Battle Pass. However, if you're level 1, buy the Battle Pass, you still can't use that gun if you're not the right level to use it. So I guess in a way, like I would still consider it in a way pay to win if you're, well, somewhat pay to win. I wouldn't say entirely, because God, there's some people who I think forget that they're supposed to use a mouse when they play.
You gotta aim?
But like Chaz says in Overwatch, do we forget to press our W key?
Dude, oh yeah, I am such a trash talker in Overwatch. Hey, everyone's monitors on, right? Just making sure everyone's mice and keyboard are plugged in for this round. There's no way you guys are trying.
I won't go too much deeper into Modern Warfare, but I think as far as a COD, a recent COD that we've gotten, and being somebody who hasn't bought a COD since Modern Warfare 3, which... by the way, internet, it is fucking terrible. Stop saying it's good. It's fucking garbage.
Is the love with Modern Warfare 3?
I don't get it. I would say I actually really enjoy Modern Warfare, like a lot.
Yeah, it's actually the most fun I've had playing a COD multiplayer in a very, very, very long time.
I think that says a lot too when I watch a lot of people that talk about COD multiplayer, and it dies off pretty damn quickly after like maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah,
but people are still playing this one consistently. So I think that says a lot.
Yeah,
it has a lot of good things going for it. So, one thing a game I wanted to point out, just real quick before we get too deep into our topics, and we can move on to the topics. But one game I wanted to bring out is a game that's 15 years old. That's classic WoW, just because. Damn, it's classic.
This is on my list as well.
Yeah, oh my god. So the reason I wanted to bring it up actually, and I talk about it briefly, spoilers, in my Game of the Year video. But one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up was because this game genuinely had I was reading an article, and I want to say it was on Gamasutra, has a like bigger impact than just it's a remake that did really well and broke like Reddit records and Twitch records or whatever. This was also one of those things where we had like 3 full MMO announcements at like between like the time of the Video Game Awards, like in the last month, of like new MMOs that are coming out, or New World from Amazon is being made, but which we've known about.
Yeah.
But they like completely revamped a lot of the way that game is going to be played. And like I had played the alpha, but their NDA was like obnoxious. It was literally like, oh, if you say you've seen New World, you will revoke your privileges. Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
Oh my
but
God.
yeah, it was
That's
obnoxious.
horrible.
But like it was so on the down low because the industry's been so afraid to make MMOs for so long because they're very expensive to make, and everyone just tried to be WoW for so long that people kind of have this impression that the MMO genre is basically a replica of World of Warcraft.
It's funny because like you say that, and the first thing that comes to my mind is when I notice kind of MMOs really shying away is when WildStar failed.
Yeah.
Right after WildStar is when I stopped seeing a lot of ads for like Guild Wars updates, and even the ads as far as like some of the expansion ads for World of Warcraft, I wouldn't see them as often.
Yeah, but this previous expansion, Battle for Azeroth, was the first time they really seriously like marketed their game, and those BFA ads were everywhere. But that was like the first time in a very long time. It felt like and that's it. Then it was like that, and then I think also when Final Fantasy XIV, its initial launch was unfortunately as bad as it was, also pushed people away, especially from that genre, player wise and development wise. And while thankfully 14 has had a beautiful revitalization,
I have more to talk about that.
The reality though is like that genre definitely is so untapped in creativity, and we're seeing that with people like Kickstarters coming out for games that are trying to be like these return to forms in some ways, just not WoW, because there's so many things beyond just what WoW does. But the beauty of this, to bring it back to the thing I was talking about, the beauty of this though is because Classic WoW did so well on a 15-year-old MMO, it did so well. There has been so much talk now within the industry of going full steam ahead on MMO development, which is why Amazon has now announced another MMO that they're working on, which is why Magic Legends got the full green light over the summer to be like, nope, we're going to give you extra funding and really push it through, which is why actually the other MMO that's being just got announced, the new Lord of the Rings MMO that's coming out.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a company that just got created like in the last year or so, Athlon. But they're getting I forget the company. I think it's Tencent or NetEase or some other company is like putting a ton of money on it, but they're making it like the West. That's the other big thing. A lot of MMO development now is being made specifically for a Western audience because I forget the exact quote and I forget who said it, but it was basically like, in the MMO space, if you want to make a quick buck, make it for Asia. If you want to make a game that's going to last for a decade, make it for the West. And
yeah.
Which I think is very cool, because not that I have a problem with the Asian market. Oh, even the Black Desert sequel, Crimson Desert, is going to be very different to Black Desert, and it's going to be aimed at more longevity play, more PvE play, dungeons and raiding, and
good, because I'll be honest, I wanted to like Black Desert.
Same.
I
don't like it. I can't get into it.
I tried it. I ended up getting it when they did the base. You could buy it for like what, $6 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I tried playing it for a little bit, but it's just like so much like the UI feels clunky and like
horrible.
I can't really tell what I'm doing most of the time.
I've watched videos.
It feels awkward to explore, and that shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I have a really big thing with anything that provides genuine automation in a video game.
Yeah.
And the fact that Black Desert is basically half play, half automated is just a really big turnoff for me.
Looking at you, David.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times.
13.
I don't know how many times I literally log onto Discord and I see David's on the phone app, but it says he's playing Black Desert because I know he's automating.
Well, it's just a bot. The mobile app is mostly a bot, and it just AFK farms.
It's amazing.
And it's built into the game, so like the game is balanced around it, but that just blows my mind. If you're balanced around automation, how about you just remove the automation? And just not balance that part of it, or it's like balance it around actual interplay.
The moment that you have to make something automated, I think you've already failed.
You have a bad premise right off the gate. It means your game isn't good enough to play.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Actually sounds similar to an argument I saw on Twitter. People were talking about how I think it was someone from Kotaku saying that if an RPG doesn't have a fast forward button, then like that's not really good anymore. And I'm just thinking to myself, if you have to have a fast forward button, you've already like created something that is not interesting. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think if I'm the game designer and your response to me is, I wish I could skip through all of this, my question then has to become, okay, why is the thing that I'm making not good enough for your time?
Also, when I go home, do I put a 22 or a 45 in my mouth?
But it's just that was excessive. That was really fun. But it's
I used to spat at 7 at least. Jesus.
Yeah. It's got the range of those banana trees. In jokes that no one will ever get. All right, so anyway, let's get into our big topic, boys. Let's just open with the game of the year.
I don't know why I keep putting my phone down.
The game of the year. Do we want to rotate this through? We're going to go Andrew, Randy, me. Do you want me to open with it? I'll open with it. Screw it.
Go for it.
If you have two, I have two. If you have two, feel free to say two, because I can't.
For what?
Even in my video, for game of the year.
I have like 4 written down.
Okay.
I have 3 written down, and 2 have already discussed enough that I'm pretty happy with that.
Perfect. So I have 2. I'm going to say that one more time, because I don't think I've said that enough, but I have 2, by the way. I'm not sure if anyone caught that. There's 2 of these video games.
Stop.
So I have, the first one I want to talk about is, Randy, which one are you going to guess?
Hold on. I want to guess which one you're going to say
first.
Let's
Let's see, because I've talked about one of these.
Control.
Yeah, all right, it's a Control. So, Control, legitimately, holy crap, is that game beautiful. It's a beautiful nightmare. It's like this amalgamation of chaos in such a nice package.
Can I just say,
it's so great.
Shout outs to Remedy for literally dropping the ball and deflating at the same time with Quantum Break and how unbelievably mediocre that was.
Yeah.
To then making Control. Like, that's insane to me.
Which, it's... The thing with Control, too, is it's always very interesting when when I had first heard that it finally come out, I think it was on the Co-optional podcast, and I think it was Jenna Bain was talking about it, and I was like, oh, a Remedy game, yeah, that sounds cool. And as she's describing it, I was just getting more and more confused. I didn't get what she was trying to sell me on. It was like everything was at a cost. Or not even at a cost, it was just like you're trying to sell someone a product that doesn't make sense in and of itself. And then like everybody else is pitching into this discussion. And I ended up leaving that discussion like so more lost about whether or not I should buy this game or not, because I didn't know what it was anymore. Like I thought I was getting it, and no matter how you explain Control, it just devolves into a mess of chaos. It really does. Like you're a completely random person who is nothing of significance to start, who happens to be a Jedi, who also happens to fight televisions, microwaves, anchors.
I'm watching Andrew's face in the camera.
Shoots with a gun that is actually alive, that can change weapon modes at the push of a button. And she walks into a building and gets promoted to the director of that building because the other director just killed himself in front of her. What? And yet it's the most interesting game. It is genuinely the most interesting game out this year. Holy cow. It is such a mental mess, but it does it in such a way that like you feel like you're overcoming every bit of the chaos. You feel, no pun intended, you genuinely feel like you're grabbing control of it and like making it yours. It's almost like this weird parody of like, I don't know, like anxiety or something, where like you just like overcoming these obstacles perpetually that seem like they're bigger than they are. It's a weird game. I wish I could describe it better, but I feel like every time I talk about it, it just gets
I'm just saying that
it sounds like I just need to play it.
Yeah, it's hard to explain without like spoiling things.
I'm just saying that day I came here and you were fighting that refrigerator boss.
That's Andrew. That's a real thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The enemies are objects of power, like microwaves and
okay, Andrew. Let me.
Anchors,
this doesn't really spoil anything because you see this guy from like the beginning of the
ashtray.
game, but there's a fucking dude sitting in a room staring at a fridge, and if he stops staring at the fridge, something catastrophic will happen.
Oh no!
I swear to God, it's literally a dude in a room staring at a fridge.
Yep. And he's legit in like terror. He's
Is
like,
he keeping
please.
it from exploding?
No,
But he's actually like afraid. Like you need to get somebody. Like he's been there for like ages, or not ages, but like days. And he's like, I need help. Like I need you to get somebody to replace me because like I need to rest.
It's much more acid trip than that. I'm
Oh
telling
my
you.
goodness, it's so funny.
God.
However, that does lead to one of my favorite lines ever. When you go back to the guy and you're like, oh hey, by the way, so and so's still up there watching the fridge, and there's like a dead pause. Oh shit. I think the guy that you're talking to is like
That's so good.
It's my shift. I forgot.
yeah. Oh, but yeah, it's the also anybody who's played it, yeah, the ashtray maze is one of the best. The build up to the ashtray maze and the payoff to the ashtray maze is one of the best levels in like genuinely like ever. Not trying to oversell it, but it is one of the coolest setups to payoffs on a level that is so contrary to the rest of the game. It's just great. And Randy knows this because there's the song that plays during it.
I was literally gonna say, is that the level where that fucking song?
It's incredible how it throws you off. But yeah, so I can't go too deep into Control because it will just make it's really one of those weird. It's like watching a certain type of show where like I can't explain to you the show without spoiling it. It's like Black Mirror. Like, you can't really explain Black Mirror to somebody without explaining an episode and spoiling it.
It's like trying to explain Doctor Who to somebody by saying cat nuns.
Right.
It's fucking weird, is all you can say.
Yeah. So definitely experience it. However, the game I really want to talk about as well for my game of the year, which is probably inched out over Control just a little bit. If anyone else, because I know Andrew played it this year, but which is Fire Emblem Three Houses. That game actually is incredible. Wow. I was so blown away. I am not somebody who likes to rewatch movies. I don't like to replay games. To have that game be finished, like to have me complete it, and then within that same 12 seconds of me finishing the first run through, hit new game and go again, and just rip right through the next playthrough it's such a testament to that game. It's the best compliment I can give it because I do not do that ever with a game.
Unless it's Yoshi's Island.
Exactly, unless it's Yoshi's Island. But it's, like, it's very rare. It's like literally Yoshi's Island, Diablo 2, and Ocarina of Time. Like, they're just like the very unique games that I truly feel that highly of. But this is one of the best. This is my favorite Fire Emblem. And I think it's, if anything, one of the best step forwards to strategy RPGs in a very, very long time.
Yes.
It really challenges the formula by adding way more RPG elements than any game has done it before, as far as like strategy RPG. And when people say it's literally Fire Emblem cross Persona, yeah, it's a very good comparison, and it's very accurate, and it's not in any way bad. It's the best possible elements of those two games. And also, even just little things like the fact that you are the teacher, and the fact that because you're the teacher, you get to dictate who takes what courses and whatever to gain their skills.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, like it not only mechanically works out, but role-playing wise, essentially, like it works out. Gameplay, it works out. It's really well fit thematically. It's
something like the teacher thing is something they could have really fucked up really easily, but for some reason I don't think of it. I can't think of another example like at all that did it that well.
And to make things even what could have been even weirder, which was everyone was thinking about too when it was coming out, is like you're the teacher, and Fire Emblem has a romance system. It always has. This could be weird because all the people you're playing with are students. That could be odd, and they never once treated it immaturely at all. Ever. That they very much treat all their characters with massive amounts of respect. Also, the cast in this game is big. Really
That's
big.
the reason why it's so good for me.
And they're
honestly.
great. Yeah, there's not a character I don't like. And even the characters I didn't like to start, you grow to like. So, for example, one of my favorite characters in the game is Lysithea, and I hated her to start. I thought she was just a brat. And it's like, as time goes on, and like her past and her trauma and her turmoil and what she is and who she is and all of that, as that like releases and unfolds, man, it just puts everything into perspective. And it's like that kid that you knew in school who was a brat, and you almost like then feel bad for him, want to be their best friend, because like it's all kind of unfolding in front of you. And she like became pretty much like probably my favorite character alongside someone like Raphael, who was fantastic as well. But yeah, the Fire Emblem Three Houses, man, it's like, if you like strategy RPGs in any way, it's such a must play. It's the best one that's come out in a very long time. And I feel so bad for Wargroove, that Wargroove came out the same year as Fire Emblem Three Houses, because it got completely overshadowed. If it would have picked any other year in the next, like, 5 years, they would have been fine.
Or the past 5 years.
Yeah, they would have been fine. They just happened to choose the
But
1
Wargroove
year.
is so good.
Wargroove is really good, too. But that's me. I want that. Those are the two I really want to talk about. Those are my big uns. So we'll rotate to Randy. Randy,
Yes.
What's your game of the year?
So, so
Fortnite, really, dude?
Oh my goodness! Fortnite Season 2 is that good? Really?
die. Just fucking die.
There's blizzards in Fortnite. I just saw that in an article.
What?
What that means, I have no idea.
But
Snow.
so to kind of backtrack on my list a little bit. So I have Modern Warfare on there, not as game of the year, but as a game that I really enjoyed. I already talked about that. This one I'll bring up only because even the little amount that I played it, it's up there for me, which is Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. Wow. So I only played we probably played 2 hours of it. And in those 2 hours, I'm not kidding you, I had more fun with the Impossible Lair than I did with the first Yooka-Laylee.
It's very well made.
And for completely different reasons, but also entirely the same reason. For taking a style of platformer and just making it better.
Yeah.
I'm very much someone who believes that a lot of the things that Yooka-Laylee did a lot better than a lot of these games that we do hold high standards to. Do I think entirely? No. But there are things that Yooka-Laylee I think does better than Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, just to name the big ones.
Yeah. Whatever Andrew's looking at looks good too.
But
Sorry.
No, this is good. I just
but there's just something about the way Playtonic
Yooka-Laylee. What?
There's something about the way Playtonic iterates on the platformers they're making. Like the first Yooka-Laylee me and Chaz said it in our 2017 wrap-up video. Yooka-Laylee got so much hate for apparently people not understanding that 3D platformers were a thing. And I remember telling friends and like all you guys that every review I was reading for the first Yooka-Laylee, I was like, they clearly just don't like the genre then. So why are they reviewing this game? Like,
yeah, it was a very interesting backlash to that game because it was getting criticized by some people for the exact same thing those people were asking for. It was really odd. It was such a weird thing because anybody I know who played it that was a fan of Banjo, or was it especially Banjo-Kazooie, liked it. Like everybody I know personally who played it liked it. Yeah, like best 3D platformer. I don't like, maybe not, but it's a good game. It was definitely a damn good game.
But so Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair literally takes all the great parts of quite literally the Donkey Kong Country games and just does it, I'll say, better, only because I don't have as much experience as some other people. But if I was going to put a Donkey Kong Country game or Yooka-Laylee, the Impossible Lair next to each other, I'm picking Yooka-Laylee every day.
I had way more fun with Impossible Lair than I did with Tropical Freeze or Returns. That's a definite. The one thing actually that Impossible Lair does really cool that very much reminded me actually of Yoshi's Island is Yoshi's Island does this really unique thing in a lot of, just in general with any level-based game, where it's like every stage in Yoshi's Island is almost like a snapshot of the game, like completely unique with entirely new, like unique mechanics. And then you move to the next level, and those mechanics you just experienced will never be seen again. It's such a ballsy thing to do because you've got to be really creative, and you've got to make sure that all of these line up and work really well. Because if you make a bunch of stinkers in a row, it feels even more fatiguing because it just feels like every new thing getting introduced is bad. Impossible Lair is the same thing, and it actually does them really well.
I wish that more games did actually do that, not just like action platformers, but games in general. I actually think that there's way too much of, here's this mechanic we're introducing, and you're going to use this for the rest of the game.
Like the whole game is built around it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's all it is. And it's like, yeah, well, I can think of a lot of games actually where I've fallen off, like maybe a third or halfway through, because it's just the same thing over and over again. Like,
right.
If I'm not held in by the story, it's kind of done.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's really cool when a game does stuff like that. And I think a good example is something like Bloodborne, where it's like in an enemy, or even like in the same vein, like Castlevania, where it's like an enemy is planned in a certain specific way at a specific location where it won't be planned that way ever again. Like something could be something very simple like that.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say you could. There is a counter to like the whole being able to have. Like the antithesis to Impossible Lair to me is something like Celeste, where Celeste is one mechanic for the most part, but the way it's the levels are created in such a unique way that one mechanic feels like it's being used dynamically and stretched.
Possible.
Yeah, even despite it being one mechanic, Impossible Lair does a very good job of saying like, here's a new level. Every level we did, it was like, here's a new mechanic, every single one, and then also being able to have like the opposite levels where it's like you could melt the level or freeze the level.
Yeah, like,
and then change the whole the whole landscape of everything.
Not only is every level dynamic, the overworld itself is
it's a level.
A big level.
It's a proper level. It's really cool. Kind of like it's almost like Super Mario 64 in a way. And like old Banjo-Kazooie were like, yeah, when you're going to the next stage, it's not just a matter of walking through the path to the next stage on this really cute overworld like Mario Galaxy 2 or something. It's like you've got to go find pages and unlock puzzles and move through mechanics in order to even unlock the next level in the overworld. It's really fun.
So, to move away from Yooka-Laylee, so between these two, like I said, I didn't have a chance to play a lot. So a lot of the stuff I did play was post-wedding. So I got married in October. And
I was busy that day on my cousin's birthday.
The post-wedding era.
Oh,
so
not the post-wedding of 2019.
So it's been kind of hard to choose between these two. Only because in the past I've really struggled to like the newer iterations of these games. So the first one is Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Okay.
It is the best Pokemon game we've gotten since X and Y. And I think it's better than X and Y. By droves. Like, there's problems. There's very clear problems with Sword and Shield right off the gate. Visually, it looks
old.
Yeah. It does not look like it belongs on the Switch.
No.
And that's something I am more upset that they lied about, that they said we're working on updating the visuals and stuff like that. But that gets into a whole different thing that I'll go into.
Thing and all that debacle.
Yeah. I'll go into that later. But as a Pokemon game, it almost feels like a de-evolution of Pokemon, whereas it felt like Pokemon was trying to take something that I think, as far as like the only credit I'll give Black and White, something Black and White achieved that I don't think any other Pokemon game will or has ever, which is story. The story in Black and White I at least have to give is incredible. Whether I like the game,
it's really good.
Whether I like the games or not is irrelevant. The story is incredible.
Yeah.
With X and Y, the story wasn't great, but you could tell they wanted it to be great. With the remake of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, they tried to make a story that was very much just copy-paste of Red, Blue, Gold, Silver, way more epic, and it wasn't.
No, except until the Delta episode.
Yeah. The Delta episode felt great, and then Sun and Moon came out.
Yeah.
And holy crap, I didn't think they could get worse at telling a story. And then Sun and Moon came out, and I was like, man, you guys are fucking killing it.
It's by far my least favorite of the franchise. Both of them, Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon.
It's just...
They're I
was so turned off from what I saw that was going to be in the game. I actually had never played Sun and Moon.
They're not even... I can't even say if you like Pokemon, it's still a Pokemon worth experiencing. I can't. I would say that about every other game. Even people who don't like Black and White, I still think it's worth experiencing. I will never recommend Sun and Moon. I think they're genuinely that bad. Or Oris. I will never recommend Oris or Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I can't. I really can't.
So, the past couple of years, as far as Pokemon is concerned, I was excited for Sword and Shield, but it wasn't to the level that I was excited for. Like I was still relatively into Pokemon when X and Y came out, because I was super into Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. I wasn't that into Black and White, but that didn't really dampen my want for X and Y. So X and Y revitalized it a lot for me. And then Oris and Sun and Moon literally undid everything. And I had very low interest in Pokemon, which is upsetting because I really like the competitive side of Pokemon. I like playing through the games. But the more and more Sword and Shield stuff came out, and I've had this conversation with Chaz before, the more the game seemed like the way it used to be. To the people that complain about Sword and Shield story, I say this. What story? Honestly, there is... the story is as simple as Red and Blue, as Gold and Silver, as Ruby and Sapphire. It is literally almost a copy-paste scenario up until probably 3/4 of the way through the game, when they do get a little with it. But even then, the game is set up so much like the older games that it kept me invested through that alone. And by the time I knew it, I was halfway through the game, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, holy shit, I'm enjoying Pokemon. Oh my god, this is fantastic. So it's tough for me because I talk to people, and it's so weird that the stigma of Pokemon is well, the story sucks. Dude, the story in Pokemon... It's not about the story. The story in Pokemon sucked until, Black and White. Yeah, I'll give Diamond and Pearl credit, because I'll be honest, low-key, Diamond and Pearl has arguably one of the better stories of Pokemon. I think, the first half of Diamond and Pearl is pretty schmeh, but, right after you find Dialga or Palkia and actually deal with, Team Plasma and all them, it's actually fantastic.
I just think it's one of those where like that series though works so well when it's set up almost like Breath of the Wild, where it's just like, hey, by the way, this is your like your end goal is Ganon. Go for it.
Go.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it needs to be. Pokemon is, and Sword and Shield does this very, very within the first 2 minutes. Hey, here's the champion. Your goal is going to be to beat him. Go.
It's set up fantastically.
That's all you need. There's this weird thing that I've noticed that people who have talked a lot about how they didn't like the story or how that turned them off of Sword and Shield. The way they were talking about it, it almost feels like they couldn't handle playing Pokemon for the sake of playing and enjoying Pokemon. It's like they needed some arbitrary reason to continue, which is, I think, a larger problem with gaming in general. Like there always needs to be these like constant little hooks or lures along the way, which I think it means your game is not good. To be quite frank, honestly, if you need a lure, that's why I've always had a problem with achievements. People who would hunt achievements, it's because your game's probably not good enough that you need a little ding, like you need that little dopamine kick. It means you've not made a good enough game. Like it could be better.
Can we talk for a second about how achievements are just stupid? Congratulations, you got a third through the game. Okay, thanks.
You know what my favorite thing about the achievement system is? I'm glad it devolved into exactly what I always wanted it to devolve into. Something irrelevant. Like, it is so useless. Thankfully, every console now, you can just turn them off. And you don't even see them. They mean nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
They're worthless.
They mean absolutely nothing. My favorite achievement of all time is still that Just Cause 2 one. You've reached the highest point in the game. Congratulations, you rode a freaking plane to the top of a mountain. Achievement. 100 points. 100 gamer score. Good job.
Great.
That added to the game, didn't it? Because what made that different between doing it anyway?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
The fact that you got that little dopamine kick because it had a little graphic.
Why not? I don't know. You get to the top of the mountain, and instead of getting a Microsoft recognized achievement, you get a challenge completed in the game, and it gives you like a skin or like a pickaxe or a rocket launcher. Well,
let's go even more basic. You get the satisfaction of sitting on top of that mountain and overlooking this beautiful game that they made, and they should make that experience rewarding enough in and of itself.
And then very clearly seeing a ship and being like, I need to grapple that.
Yeah.
What game is this? Just Cause?
Just Cause 2, yeah.
So clearly, when you get to the top of the mountain, you stand there, you look over the horizon, and then the mountain explodes, right?
If it's Just Cause, it should have. Yeah. You could ride your parasail down and hook a couple people into each other while you're going down.
So to get back to Pokemon.
Dude, Just Cause is so good though.
I won't spend too much more time on Pokemon because it'll come up later, but there's just, I think the bad is pretty bad, but I think the good in this game is so excellent that it really does. It is one of those cliched lines of it just overshadows the bad stuff.
Oh yeah, the highs are so high. Can we just say this is the best Elite Four champion like theme moment of like the games.
Oh
in
yeah,
general.
100%.
That being in the stadium is so hype. Every gym battle feels so hype, and especially the Elite, because the way they set it up is like a proper tournament. Like it's
That's kind of dope.
It's not just you fighting through an Elite Four, so to speak. Slight spoilers, but it's like you fighting other contenders that have made it, which by the way is great that you get to see other people. Like you start your journey with all these trainers around you.
And then they end up in the finale.
And you also see like less of them along the way. Like some of them are dropping off, not able to beat the challenges.
And then you see all these gym leaders you fought actually come to the end of this tournament with fully leveled Pokemon. You're like, oh my god.
Like the Elite Four isn't just an Elite Four. It's all the gym leaders, but this time they're fighting you for real. They're no longer holding themselves to that handicap because they've got to be a level 30 gym battle. No, they are going ham on you because they also want to become the new champion.
I think
I love it.
I think this is the first Pokemon game since Diamond and Pearl that I've actually had Pokemon faint in the Elite Four or faint in the Pokemon League.
I proper had a bunch of them faint throughout the run. Except Dragapult because he's a god.
Yeah, Dragapult's amazing. So as far as Game of the Year is concerned. It's Borderlands 3. Like it can't not be for me. I went through this period like probably two or 3 weeks ago where like I noticed I wasn't playing Borderlands as much, and I thought it was like, did the game really like die off? Like, am I really just that bored of Borderlands? When in actuality, I was just playing other shit, and I'm just like, I don't really want to play it. But the moment I
you figured
logged
that out on your own.
I'm smart. The moment I logged back into the game and started just randomly farming for just legendaries and crap, I instantly was like, okay, this feeling I have not gotten from a single game this year.
That loot grind is so addictive.
This is what I don't understand, right, about loot games that have come out recently. You have this prime example right here, right? See this? This prime example.
I'm seeing it.
Of
Andrew can't, but I'm seeing it.
Yeah, Andrew can't see. This prime example of how to do loot in a very constructive and rewarding way without any bullshit.
Do you mind if I screen cap this and send it to Bungie?
Wait, hold on. I can't see what you guys are talking about, but I have a pretty... Does it look like this?
God, it should.
But yeah, and now with the first DLC out, Borderlands 3 is this kind of loot experience that I honestly haven't had since something like Diablo 2, Torchlight 2, the first Borderlands 2 when it was, at its highest or whatever. But the thing for me with Borderlands 3 is it took so much as far as like the Borderlands formula and changed it almost without changing it. Like, you still have abilities, but now basically all your abilities aren't this super powerful thing. They're just abilities to chain, to get kill skills and action skills. They've somehow made the game more synergetic while also making it more dynamic. And like the fact that you can choose to have your grenade slot swapped with another passive ability and combine those abilities. So for those of you who play Borderlands, I play Zane. There's nothing more exciting than throwing your Sentinel out, having him shoot radiation and electrical beams at people, while you deploy a shield surrounded in electricity, pick up the shield like you're in a Zorby, and run around at people and run into them so they get stunned. And then shoot them in the face until they freeze and then they explode.
That does sound good.
Like, it's stuff like that. Like,
I mean, to be fair, I like everything you just said. I'm in.
I've made this comment to friends that have played, like, the easy comparison, right, is Destiny, right? The easy comparison is looter shooter. The easy comparison is Destiny.
Oh, The Division 2, dude. That was such a good game.
Oh, that's coming up. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. That's coming up later.
I'm just saying, Skill Up said it was the best loot game ever made.
Did he say that, or did he say it was the best this year?
No, he said it was the best looter shooter to come out ever. Arguably the best loot game ever.
Oh yeah, God.
The best game to loot your wallet.
Oh, God.
The best game to be disappointing.
But, so the easy comparison is Destiny, right? So, actually, I think I had this conversation with you too, Chaz.
Sorry.
I think the way Borderlands 3 especially does legendaries, makes them actually feel legendary.
Yeah, I'm gonna blow your fucking mind here for a second. It's because they're Diablo 2 uniques.
It's amazing.
I know. It's great. How hard was that?
I seriously love Borderlands 3. Just to kind of throw my
This is the thing with loot games. We have God's gift to mankind, like a full proper template, and we fuck it up all the time.
You can say the same about WoW clones.
Yeah,
like you actually have what was the most successful video game of all time as a template, and you screwed it up.
But yeah, I think continuing about Borderlands 3 would be slightly redundant, but I mean, it is my game of the year just because of really how replayable Borderlands as a franchise, minus the pre-sequel, is.
It's a fun game. It really is a fun game. The one problem I think with Borderlands 3 really is the story is by far the least interesting part of the game, because like the run and gun, the loot grind, like once you're in that mode, the game becomes fun. it almost falls into the trap of like an MMO where like the leveling is a necessary evil when they could just make it not exist, like Guild Wars 1, for example, where it's like that's not the problem. But once you're past that, the game's on a high.
See, I'll play devil's advocate, and I'll say I actually liked Borderlands 3 story more than Borderlands 2 story.
Okay, I agree, but I'm not saying that as a compliment either. I'm saying that as a thank God it wasn't as bad as Borderlands 2's story. Because I really... My thing right now with Borderlands 3's story is just... I can't. I have... It's like Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't care about anything. And the humor is so odd. And not in a good way. Because we've just played through Borderlands 1 and 2 again. Like me and Tanya just played through Borderlands 1 and 2. Well, I played through Borderlands 1 with her. And you played through 2 with her. And Borderlands 1 is still genuinely funny. The one big thing Borderlands 3 did, though, seriously, is I think they redeemed Claptrap.
Yeah, he's pretty fucking hilarious.
That character's actually funny again.
I agree with that, actually.
In 2 and the pre-sequel, they clearly were like trying to make him funny. And it just wasn't. But some of the characters in 3 is way funnier than 2, I think. But
I think 3 has the funniest Claptrap period, even better than 1.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Also, to kind of lead off of this Borderlands 3 thing, the DLC is basically if the movie Heat was a Borderlands expansion. So, yeah.
I love that movie.
So, yeah. And the writing's actually fantastic, and the expansion's great.
Are we good? Am I still connected with you guys?
Andrew, what just happened? Yeah.
My computer's trying to go to sleep.
Oh, is that what that was? I was like, Andrew, your computer was dark.
Well, my monitor started to turn off. I was just like,
but
we're back.
But that's what I got as far as Game of the Year stuff. So
cool.
Now we're gonna move on down the line to
Chaz again.
To Andrew.
Oh.
no!
Andrew, hit us.
With what?
Your cock.
What? Oh, jeez. Is this supposed to be Shadowbringers?
Maybe. Yeah, dude. So if I were to look at my hours of games played, shut up. If I were supposed to look at a pie graph, right, of the hours of games I played, Shadowbringers would probably be in the 90% area.
Damn. That's a lot.
Literally started playing Final Fantasy 14 pretty hard in February, and it's a pretty fun game. And then Shadowbringers came out. And I think one of the big quote that a lot of people are taking from this is it's my new favorite Final Fantasy game. And it's the best story they've had for a Final Fantasy game since 10, arguably even farther back. It's like the story's good, the content's amazing, all the dungeons are interesting, all the classes, like tanks have never been in a, like, without getting too much into the game, like balancing is some of the best it's ever been right now. All the content they're coming out with has always been good or insanely good. Like, there's never been something that's kind of like meh. It's all just been fantastic. It's like it's the best it's ever been, and it's only been getting better since more content's been rolling out for Shadowbringers. Like, it's...
That's so good to hear, considering Battle for Azeroth was out. And that's a nightmare. So it's good to hear Shadowbringers is... It's good to hear a WoW clone is actually beating World of Warcraft.
It's so different, though.
No, I know, but, like, well, the interesting thing about 14 is like a WoW clone of WoW about, like, 6 or 7 years ago. And I think that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it does the core fundamentals right. Like, gear doesn't feel like a nuisance. It feels like a fun reward, but also a tool to move on to the next reward.
I think the interesting about gear in 14 is it's very much not randomized.
Right.
You know exactly what you're going for, and you're doing a specific thing for that gear.
Right.
And there's not like a... like, the best gear in the game, there's 2 sets, and you pick pieces from each one and build a set. And that's how you come up with your best in slot.
Almost like Monster Hunter style, with like the alpha beta kind of combo?
Wait a minute, are you telling me there's a chase? You stop that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, imagine an MMO with a good loot chase. That'd be weird.
And
what is this, Guild Wars?
All your high level like gear isn't just from raiding.
Isn't that nice?
You have the raid set, and then you have the tombstone set, which you get tombstones from doing a lot of different high end activities. So it's definitely possible to have the combination Destiny. But yeah, no, Shadowbringers has been absolutely phenomenal. I put more hours this year into Final Fantasy 14 than I did 5 years into Destiny. Just to give you an idea.
Oh my god!
But it's just there's so much to do in that game. Even after the jobs, the different classes and jobs you can play are so drastically different that if you start to feel yourself getting bored, you just try something new, and it's all on one character. So you just click a button, you're in a different class.
You click a button.
Like you click a button. No, it's like I could literally go on this forever, but Shadowbringers classic WoW. There's been some really big stuff for MMOs this year that I think is all given some traction, and I do want to give Shadowbringers. Shadowbringers got one of the highest scores on Metacritic we've seen
I
for
saw
a game
that.
in a long time.
Yeah.
What did it get, like a 93 or something?
I think it's in the top 5, or the top 50 PC games of all time. Last time I looked. That's awesome.
Like,
with
so
original
worth
World of
buying.
Warcraft, like I think World of Warcraft. I think Burning Crusade is the highest rated on Metacritic right now, but it's alongside the TBC, which is a true testament to itself.
Yeah.
The thing I can't stress enough, and going back to my original statement, is how we're going to close, is people saying it's like, oh, this is my new favorite Final Fantasy game because of the story. The story for Shadowbringers is fucking amazing. It is so good. All the characters are good. The voice acting is amazing. The script writing is good. The world building is amazing. Like, everything from the very start to the culmination of the end, it's stuff that's been building up over years in different expansions of the game, and it came out so good.
That's awesome. It's really nice to see just something, because while I can sit here and talk about, or as I mentioned in the beginning, about Classic WoW, the thing is, Classic WoW is great. It's a 15-year-old game. What I want to see is new stuff. And I'm so happy to see that Shadowbringers is a new expansion to a current game that's owning it.
Play it.
So Andrew, how do you feel about Ruby Weapon?
Oh yeah, so they just announced the next patch. I don't think I talked to you about this yet, Chaz.
I don't think so either. I'm hearing this for the first time.
Yeah. So every expansion, there's a trial series. There's 3 trials that are all kind of like relating to the same thing, taken from different Final Fantasy stuff. So like during Heaven's Ward, we had the Warring Triad, from Final Fantasy VI. Stormblood, we had the 4 Lords, and then now we get the Weapon series. So we get Ruby Weapon first. We'll probably get Emerald Weapon at some point. Probably like Diamond. I don't know what the third one would be.
Yeah, because Ultima's already done, right? In the game?
Ultima, it could be. There's a bunch of weapons from 7 though they could use, but it's starting with Ruby Weapon. Also, we got one picture for the next raid tier, and that's it. Just one picture of an arena, and it's the fucking Thunder Plains from Final Fantasy X.
Oh, that's cool.
That's it. That is all they showed, and everyone's just like,
I'm never getting Lulu's ultimate weapon, so
that
this is my chance to go dodge some lightning.
that's what I'll be probably doing in February. But it's really fun, and the coolest thing about 14 is it's never really too late to get into it.
That is the beauty of the live service game models, because there's stuff constantly renewing and coming out. There's always some way to get into it now.
Yeah.
And even if you don't want to do the grind to get to, say, the end tier of this current expansion, you wait like a couple months, new expansion comes out, and it's a nice big reset anyway. So people who really don't who want to be on that, the people who want to ride the wave at all times, a little bit of patience gets you to the wave every time.
Add a benefit too. If you want to start the game and then just buy a boost to start Shadowbringers, you can technically go back with the new game plus system and actually play through the story of the other games and expansions.
That's awesome. That's actually really cool.
Yeah. No, it's really neat.
It's really good to see an MMO do this well still. In a time when people say the genre is dead, and yet we just got 5 of them announced in the last month.
I want to see more.
I want something to really challenge. Now that we've had Final Fantasy challenge WoW and currently beating it, I think as a game, as a whole, I'm really excited to now see something challenge Final Fantasy.
I want to see the competition.
Yeah, because it'll make everything do better. Really does. Perfect
What's the worst that happens? You get 2 good MMOs to play?
Yeah, I always joke. Warcraft is always at its best.
What a travesty.
Yeah. WoW was always at its best the second a big MMO was coming out. EverQuest 2 was coming out, we got the Burning Crusade. Just saying.
That happened when EverQuest 2 came out?
It was coming out, yeah.
Oh, poor EverQuest.
That's why they put so much into it. Yeah. So it happens, dude. I mean, the Division 2 was coming out when we got Destiny Forsaken. To be fair, actually really good. Like, companies do compete hard, so I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's get into some good stuff. Let's get into things that... Yeah, let's get into some disappointing things. Do you want to go, Andrew? You look like you're excited.
Yeah.
There you go, but you look like you really want
So
to.
there's been this continuing problem, and I've talked about this a lot.
Hit me.
About big name releases that are hyped and talked about and have trailers and all this yada yada.
Say it.
Over the years. And it's not just one game, but this one game is the antithesis of it, if I use that word correctly. Anthem.
Okay, never mind.
I am so happy, Andrew.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Anthem, because that is
Yeah.
mine as well. Let's talk about Anthem.
And
Is
you
it
know
terrible?
why it's such a
Okay.
big disappointment? Because it was exciting, it was okay, and then it disappeared. When was the last time you heard about Anthem?
When they
It's
announced
dead.
like a month ago that they're basically overhauling it to make
Yeah,
it
they're
not
redoing
suck.
the entire
That's
game,
my
basically.
point, though.
Yeah.
Is this happens every year?
It-
There's 2 or 3
yep.
games that are hyped, everyone's excited, and then they disappear off the face of the planet after a month.
So we had...
Also, let me just point this out.
Yep.
I completely forgot Anthem even came out this year, so it's
Yeah.
not even on my list.
Yeah.
Seriously. So let's just... I'm going to use a couple examples. Sea of Thieves come out. Great game, great premise, nothing to do. A year later, incredible game. The Division 1 comes out, really good idea, really good premise, crappy game. A year later, in a good state. Destiny did it twice with both of their game launches. It is No Man's Sky. Like, it is such a fatiguing thing at this point to have a game come out, it sucks, has a good idea, but it sucks, and a year later, it's worth playing. It is the most
By the time it
frustrating
gets-
thing in the world.
By the time I guess that you're playing, usually by that point, it's already dead. There's something else coming out.
And exactly, and something that's not going to make this, or hopefully doesn't make that same mistake. Fallout 76 is going to have the perfect example. Fallout 76 is going to release like a year or in a couple months after its release. They're going to actually have NPCs in their game. I mean, let's be real. How freaking ridiculous is that? But Anthem is the fact that they're announcing the fact they're going to completely remake it is in some way exciting, but it's only exciting because of how disappointing that game really was when it launched. And it's mostly because there's something really interesting to me about Anthem, and that is, as a whole, that game is actually really fun to play. There is nothing in that game, though. Not a thing. The loot grind is bad. The map is ridiculously small, unexcusably small. The content is pathetic as far as like what you actually get to do. Dailies, weeklies, events, all that crap is just such a mess. And even the whole cosmetic grind is locked exclusively behind paywalls, which is dumb. It's really, really dumb.
I think this is the first really, really big fumble from BioWare since the whole Mass Effect 3 ending debacle.
I'd say Andromeda was still pretty bad too, unfortunately. Yeah. But the thing with Anthem is like, so again, kind of like Andromeda. What made Andromeda disappointing was when you play it, it's actually really good.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Anthem's not.
Right. Well, so the thing with Anthem, if you take Anthem, right, and you just let someone play through a level and say, can you imagine playing a game based on this? It's incredible. Like, the way the abilities, I think, work with each other, really good premise. Really
Anthem
good
is
idea.
the coolest demo we've gotten in such a long time.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I hope
That
the new
really
game
is
comes
the
out
thing.
soon.
Yeah. You're completely right, though. For example, I said this about Destiny, or compare this to Destiny. Anthem actually makes it so you can combo your abilities not only to yourself, but actually set up your abilities with other party members as well, and genuinely make builds off of builds from other players. And they work together really well. But there's no content to do to make that engaging.
Yeah.
That's the
It'd be
problem.
It'd be like having the classes in like WoW or Final Fantasy 14. It's like, oh, these are so much fun to play, but there's no dungeons, there's no raiding, there's no...
It's just
Wow.
You
open
just go in
God.
the world and kill random enemies.
It's just going in and killing 10 more pigs. Like, that's about it. Like,
Woo!
yeah, I could make all these cool builds with you, and yes, it is cool, but there's no reason I would want to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. That is Anthem, like, in a nutshell. Because some of the gun ideas are also pretty good. But just being able to combo chain different element types and having your supers actually feel good in comparison to... Like, if I was to legitimately just take a level from Destiny and a level from Anthem and talk strictly gameplay, Anthem blows Destiny out of the water.
Oh, I believe it. Destiny is paper thin.
But the problem is Destiny has something to do. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. Destiny
It
has a
something to do.
It's got more to do than Anthem. I don't want to say it has much to do because it doesn't. Like the Destiny grind is a week long usually, but Anthem just it has such a brilliant premise.
I would
man.
actually disagree with that, by the way, but that's for an entirely different reason. And we can talk a little bit about Destiny because I think it sort of fits under this category, and I'll talk about it a little bit because I'm going through my experiences right now with like getting back into it because I have everything. I'm playing catch up to play with the guys again, and they have improved a lot, but it's like Destiny 2 vanilla was really, really not good, and trying to polish and build up from a bad foundation is really hard and difficult, and they're struggling with it, and it's so obvious. That and the other problem I have is they tried to keep coming out with new PvE game types and stuff, and it's like that I can't imagine how much resource time that's taking, and when the player base has to completely relearn a new activity type, it'd be like instead of releasing a new dungeon, we're not going to release a dungeon, we're going to release, like for an MMO, we're not going to release a dungeon, we're going to release an arena, and then we're not going to release an arena, we're going to release a tower, and it's like you keep coming up with all this new stuff, and it's cool, but
the other thing too is like as the designers, man, you never get to iterate upon your first creation to make it good. So
that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's like it releases. It's almost like seasons. It releases, and this is the gimmick for this season, and they never flesh it out or fix the kinks to it. They just move on to the next thing and throw it away. It's like Path of Exile does that, except Path of Exile actually, when their season ends and their gimmick ends, it gets baked into the game and actually properly dealt with and fixed and iterated upon, while also introducing a new mechanic. Destiny never does that. They just introduce new mechanics.
That being said, they're doing some good stuff, and I actually have more to talk about this in a later category.
I'd still rather die
than talk about Destiny?
Than play it. Because every time I play it, if I could put my biggest disappointment of the decade, it would be Destiny. But I'm going to go with Anthem still for this year, because what a great setup, what a great premise, what a great development studio. Nothing to do at all.
I
love how you scared yourself.
What you got, Randy?
So it's hard because my biggest disappointment isn't even a game that I played. It is a game that I went on arguably one of the most well thought out rants in the DCG Discord that I think I've gone on in quite a long time, that actually plays off of what I thought you were going to say when you said when a game is so hyped that it just falls flat on its face. Whereas in this case,
it happens all the time though.
Whereas in this case, this game got overhyped and is now overpraised but not overpraised. Death Stranding, come on down! You're the next contestant on Why the Fuck Do People Like You? Oh my god, dude.
It is such a weird game.
It's not even a game!
You're expecting it to be any different?
It is literally UPS, the movie.
Yeah.
That's it. That
accurate.
Is all Death Stranding is.
You know
I can't judge it. I haven't played it at all.
So,
oh my god,
I have from what I've seen and from what I've heard from reviews and from other podcasts, I feel like every time someone tries to sell that game, like in a pitch of like this is why you should like Death Stranding, they are like coming out the gate swinging uphill. It's like they are trying to. No one ever sells you on the cool aspects or fun aspects or unique, like really interesting mental state that game puts you in, or the experiences you go through. It's always explaining away very obvious and common problems that people bring up. Like, no one ever comes out and goes, okay, well, Death Stranding is really interesting because it's about trying to save the world and about trying to come together or anything like that. It's always, all right, yeah, so the combat is, like, really bad, but it's really interesting because this. Or, yes, the walking looks like it's bad, but it's not because this. It's like, You know what I mean? It's almost like when somebody's just trying to like. It's almost like they're in denial.
They're trying to squeeze water out of a rock to survive.
It feels really odd. It's just like, why do you feel the need to like swing uphill? Why can't you just sell me on its merits? I don't understand it.
No, I can already tell.
Just got a rock, you're just like.
That's exactly though genuinely what it sounds like when people are trying to sell it. Constantly. And every time then they try to sell it, you're just like, I feel like you've actually just made me want to play it less. Because like now you're trying to make this like really awkward thing that clearly isn't the intent become the intent. Also, I'm not going to support any game where literally the developer or the creator of that game comes out and says, sorry, you guys just aren't smart enough to understand it. Like, okay. So, how do we make a good game next time?
So, I've always had an appreciation for Kojima, right? I'm not a big stealth game guy, so I'm not super big into Metal Gear, but I've always appreciated the craft. You can't deny that Hideo Kojima made some of the best stealth action games, period.
Yeah.
You'd be an idiot to not acknowledge that. Like, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is one of the greatest stealth action games of all time.
Snake Eater.
And then Guns of the Patriot is one of the greatest stealth movies of all time.
Right.
But my biggest issue with Death Stranding isn't the shit gameplay, isn't the convoluted story, isn't the gross advertisement of monster in your game, isn't the fact that you're basically just selling it off of Norman Reedus' beautiful face, isn't the fact that your game is arguably the most beautiful game of the generation.
It does look good.
It's that when you take all that and you still have a game that's so unbelievably boring, and it still somehow makes it past the critics that are literally saying, guys, seriously, this game is not that good. And literally everyone goes, yeah, but Kojima made it, so it's okay, right? No, it's not okay. Why is it okay when fucking someone makes a Final Fantasy game that's bad and you shit all over it? Why do you think Final Fantasy 13 got so much crap? Because people are like, no, this is bad. And then everyone's like, no, but like 40 hours in, it's all right. That doesn't make it good. Like,
the thing still that blows my mind is to remember that regardless of whether or not I have these harsh feelings as well against Death Stranding, that game was nominated for the Game of the Year on the VGAs.
It sounded like...
And it won several awards for, like, best action adventure game, right? No, best game direction.
Yeah.
Best game direction.
What direction?
Like, what was the direction? What was the unique element of Death Stranding? Honestly, that was like, what is the thing that Death Stranding did that is going to change the industry? Are we just going to have better paid promotion in our material now? So we're going to have Coke cans instead of Monster cans to people? Because there's nothing from Death Stranding that people are going to take and go, I want to do that in my game, other than I want to make it look as pretty as Death Stranding.
Or, no, you're missing the point entirely. The point entirely is that people are going to be like, yeah, but like, Kojima made it, yeah. But Kojima made it. But I seriously I've watched so many videos
but it wasn't
people...
Konami.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point, I wish it was Konami.
I wish it was Bethesda.
But
might as well throw BioWare.
Yeah, let's go all the way.
But I think my biggest issue with Death Stranding is just that people are still so blinded and jaded as far as like a figure in the industry making something new, and you just can't admit it's bad. Just say it's bad. Say it's boring. Say it's no good. Like,
if Miyamoto makes a bad game, I'm gonna say it's a bad game.
Here's the thing. Here's what happens now. Death Stranding, when they make a Death Stranding 2, they're not gonna fucking change anything. It's gonna be the same game.
Oh. What did I say, Andrew? Was it the Miyamoto comment?
Yeah, because I have a Star Fox Zero poster.
I didn't see that. Shoot.
It's like you can't really see it in this game.
We did a whole video, Randy and I did, about when Miyamoto said it was the most underrated game
on the Wii U.
No, it was not. It's not
underrated.
It'd be so underrated.
It'd be so underrated if they remembered to put it in the controller support.
Yeah, or like
if they remember to turn on their screen.
Yeah, that'd be good. Remember, press W key, guys. All right, so disappointments out of the way. That's good. Poor Death Stranding. So let's go on to a good one. They're all good. I'm gonna keep saying that every time. I can open with this one. The game of 2019 that I most regret not playing. There's one that I still can't believe I've not played, and that makes it worse as it's installed on my computer. And that is... Damn it. How did you figure it out? Have you heard the new C theme? Tetris C theme? No?
Wait, are you serious?
No.
Oh.
But seriously, the game I regret most not playing is Sekiro. The fact that I haven't played through Sekiro...
Well.
Is it? Yeah. The fact that I haven't played Sekiro yet is such a weird thing, because I've played a Souls game with Star Wars, and it's easily in my top 5 of this year. And I've not played just Sekiro already. And I made a video about the VGAs, and I was like, if I had to pick one of these games on this list, even over Control, which I think is one of the best games that's come out in a very long time, I still would rather the VGAs give it to Sekiro, because of what I know about that game is so good. And I've not played it yet. And then it won, which is great. So thank you, VGAs, for giving it to Sekiro. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's just like, everything I've heard about that game is just, oh, do you like the Souls games? Oh, do you like everything good about them? And you want that better? Sick. Here's Sekiro. I'm in. The only thing I know that you lose, basically, is there's some customization that you lose from the Souls games to Sekiro. Kind of like in Bloodborne, where it's like a little more confined into like a particular role. But if you can
more
make
action-oriented.
Yeah, but if you can make that role still feel really unique and
warranted
engaging,
and
but you
fun.
also have if your customization can come down to like the way you play, then great. And which apparently Sekiro does. The character customization looks very engaging on how you can play different ways.
I have such a boner for fucking From Software, man.
They
I really do.
They really kill it. They own it. They've not made a bad game since Demon's Souls.
And realistically, wait, what? Anyway, realistically, the thing I like about them is they're like, hey, I'm done with sequels. Seriously, we're not going to make any more Dark Souls. But we're just going to keep making our own games and what we want to do. I'm like...
You do you.
Yeah.
Demon's Souls was bad?
No, I said they haven't made a bad game since they released Demon's Souls.
Oh, okay. So I did bad games before that, got it.
It's okay, I was confused too.
I was going to say I want a Demon's Souls 2, but Dark Souls 3 is basically Demon's Souls 2. It's very much more like Demon's Souls than it is Dark Souls. And I'm cool with that. But yeah, Sekiro definitely for me. Randy.
So...
Is that a long list?
It's a long list, but I was only writing shit down just to see. But if I had to pick one that I really wanted to play this year and didn't get a chance to...
Fat Queen.
Dude, that whole Fat Queen conversation went so much further than I ever anticipated it going.
By the way, anyone who's out there who doesn't know, there's an actual game called Fat Queen out on Steam, and it has a sequel called Fat Queen 2. I don't want to... If you're not over the age of 18, you didn't hear this from me.
But definitely...
But I know it's real, dude. It's real.
Definitely the game that I regret not playing this year was The Outer Worlds.
Oh, yeah.
I have heard nothing but incredible things about The Outer Worlds.
Hey, you found it. You found it. You know what actually intrigued me more about Outer Worlds is the fact that as people were playing it, more and more people were like comparing it to Mass Effect than Fallout.
Yeah.
Which I love. I prefer Mass Effect over Fallout, so I was so glad.
So,
Andrew, you're not allowed to play that game while we're doing the podcast. You're going to have to wait till after, bud.
I'm confused. Why is there a sequel?
Dude, by the way, there's a DLC pack for it that is literally just a picture that says, "Thank you for buying my game."
Anyway, go ahead, Randy.
But so when was The Outer World announced? It was like E3 2018.
Last year, I think, yeah.
So I remember the trailer coming out, and I was like, Obsidian. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, didn't they make Fallout?
Yeah.
They made Fallout 1, 2, the expansion for 2, and New Vegas.
New Vegas, yeah. Which, in my opinion, is still the best one.
So I was like, okay, I'm in. And then the trailer plays, and I'm like, oh my god, there's color.
Yeah.
Holy shit, they used the color palette other than shit brown.
They made a bleak world still colorful.
Like, everything about The Outer Worlds that I've read, that I've seen, and more importantly, that actually someone in our group, Jake, has told me, because as far as I know, he's the only one in our group that's played The Outer Worlds. the level of freedom you have. He explained it to me like this. He went into like he said it was like the second or third town you're in, and an NPC, he said they literally all they did was say something he didn't like, and he shot them in the face, and they're out of the game forever. They're gone. And I love that
game.
That's awesome.
I love that. I love the freedom. I guess all the weapons are unique and fun. Just as an example, the shrinking right. There's a fucking shrinking right.
That is awesome.
Like, you can shrink people and it's hilarious. The story is apparently phenomenal. The text box choices for dialogue are apparently very unique and very different. And there's like so many different endings to the game, and all your companions are useful, and it sounds so good, and I just didn't get to play it.
The best thing I've heard about the dialogue is it looks way more detailed than, say, like Fallout 4, because the Fallout 4 dialogue options are like almost like the problem with Mass Effect dialogue options, where you'll see like a 3-word snippet and you're supposed to derive what they're going to say, and you might click it and you're thinking, oh, they're going to make peace, and then Shepard punches a chick in the face, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. That's not what I was going for. But it doesn't look like it's necessarily gone so overboard like Dragon Age Origins, where Dragon Age Origins is like the full sentence they're going to say. But
it's like, let me read this paragraph before I respond to your comment.
Yeah, but I like that there's at least some middle ground there, and I'd rather know what I'm going to say full on, because there's something really disorienting when you have to like reload your game because your dialogue option was not what you thought it was going to be. It's so frustrating. But yeah, The Outer Worlds is on my list of things to play. I'm really excited. I'm glad it did as well as it did and made it up even to a VGA Game of the Year award, which is really impressive. It deserves it. It really does. And it's good to see Obsidian back in the run for really good games.
They knocked it out of the park. I'm definitely getting The Outer Worlds.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew.
Yeah.
What game did you wish you wouldn't have played?
I have 3.
Okay, hit me.
Sekiro?
Yep.
Already talked about that. Wargroove. Yep. I still haven't bought or played it. Every time I want to, I'm like, I don't have enough money, so I have to wait. So I'll play it soon.
Yep.
And Bloodstained.
Yeah.
Bloodstained was something I was hyped for a really long time, and I still want to play it because it still looks pretty good. Yeah, I just haven't yet.
Yeah, I actually wish I wanted to play it as well. It's in this like weird state where you're like, I don't know if you share this opinion. I'm not trying to jack this number from you or this game from you.
No, go for it.
But for me, Bloodstained is one of those things where like I've seen stuff on it and I've heard good things on it, and I almost know because it's a safe choice, I have less anxiety of like needing to play it to experience it, and I'm like, cool, I'll get to it because like I know it's gonna be a fine experience. So I'm less like nervous about. Sometimes if I'm nervous and more worked up about a game, I have to play it now because I got to see if I just got to see if it passed, you know. But Bloodstained, there's something nice about just like, yeah, I know what that game is going to be, and by the sounds of it, it's going to be a good safe bet.
I think my problem with it is I look at it and I'm like, I'm just going to compare it to Soten the entire time.
I don't think
that's going to be my problem.
I don't think it's the one problem is it doesn't look like it's hiding that either, which could be a bad thing.
It could be a good thing, actually. I think that's all it needs to do.
It could. Oh, well, yeah, unless it does everything worse, in which case, well,
yeah,
then you could just play Soten. Which, not necessarily, because like Soten is also such a unique experience, on its own as far as like style goes. So you could have something like Bloodstained and just have it do a little bit worse in every capacity and still be a good game. Like no one's going to say Twilight Princess is a bad game, even though a lot of like what it does might be slightly worse than another game, for example. Ocarina. Anyone catch that? There's a bug in this one.
Nah, I didn't hear that. Sorry, it went over my head.
It sounded like you said Majora's Mask.
Ugh. Was that it, Andrew? Did you have much to say on Bloodstained?
Yeah, it's literally just those 3. Yeah, Wargroove, Sekiro, and Bloodstained.
Okay. Yeah. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Some of us had to pee. Some of us are wimps.
Some of us found chips.
Yeah, all of us had to get a drink. So we're back. We're gonna wrap up with our final topics. So first topic, Mario. What a game. Where are we at? We're at biggest surprise.
Yep.
Biggest surprise of 2019. Who hasn't started yet? Randy hasn't started one yet, right? Go ahead.
3 words.
Randy, you fucking eating chips.
I said 3 words. I held up 1 finger.
You're literally eating chips.
I'll be honest. That was just like muscle memory. I literally just grabbed.
All right, Randy. What's your 3 words?
3 words. Untitled Goose Game.
All right, that's fair.
I have not seen a game become a phenomenon
Yeah.
so fast. When Elijah literally explained Untitled Goose Game to me, I was like, that sounds so dumb. I thought
Dude,
it was
it's
just,
Goat Simulator all over again.
I thought it was just like
yeah.
Elijah just finding some random game on the eShop when he was drunk and like, dude, it's hilarious. And I was like, maybe. And the more I kept seeing, like, I kept seeing articles about it. I was like, what is this fucking game? And literally all the game is you playing a goose, fucking with people. And I'm like, how do people like this? And then it's
so good.
and then it's up for all these awards, and I'm like, what is life right now?
I haven't played it either, and every time I see stuff on it, I'm just like, dude, this just brings out the worst in me, and I'm so glad there's like some way to get it out. There's like some therapeutic method of it.
Dude,
This kind of reminds me of is like Undertale or like Minecraft, in that whole, maybe not to the extent of Minecraft, but like Undertale to the extent of Undertale, where it's just like no one knew about this thing. It suddenly came out, and for very good reasons for being a good game, it just explodes, and it's this like low budget indie game that like does nothing really. It's very small scale, and it really goes to show that like small scale games and budget games can be very, very, very good.
Oh, it paid off
Yeah, very, very
in
good.
droves. Like they are.
They
I
had
bet
the whole skit with the freaking Muppets at the VGAs. Like a proper skit with well-known, like proper, what's the word I'm looking for? But like pop culture characters alongside this goose for Untitled Goose Game. That's incredible.
it was definitely 100% my biggest surprise of this year.
Seriously,
I
that's
was
a good
not
one.
expecting a goose to be the flagship for indie games this year.
Yeah, for real.
yeah.
What about you, Andrew? What's your biggest surprise?
I have two.
Okay.
One of them, it's a surprise, but it's kind of a thing where it's like, it's something that's still kind of expected at the same time. It's like we had
Okay.
PUBG, which was eclipsed by Fortnite, which I think is starting to be eclipsed by Apex Legends, which is what I
Apex
wanted
is
to
still
talk about.
growing, I think, yeah.
Yeah, but it kind of came out of nowhere, right?
It really did.
Yeah.
I think
It literally came out of nowhere because they quite literally had a rumor like 3 days prior to its announcement. Hey, by the way, Respawn's working on a battle royale, and then on like it was like on a Monday,
Yeah.
EA was just like, hey, by the way, Respawn's working on this game, a battle royale called Apex Legends. Oh, do we say working on? I mean, as of the
It's
launch
done.
of this stream, it's live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What? That was cool. That was a really
it's
clever
doing
way
well
of doing
too.
things.
People like it. I'm a fan. I actually kind of want to try it, even though I'm not a fan of that genre.
I like it. I've played it with Jake. I actually think it's a lot of fun. I like it more because it's way more squatty. Like Fortnite, you can play duos and whatnot, but Fortnite.
You're not really though, right?
Yeah, but if you're gonna play a squad mode in Apex, you have to really communicate. Like playing with randoms in Apex is so hard.
But because it's also hero based and class based, essentially, there's actually some
Synergy.
sort of synergy. You fucking just seriously eat
That's
chips.
No.
But yeah, there's like an actual synergy that you can build between. Yeah, it's literally just.
But yeah, no, that's cool, and I actually do want to try it at some point. I'm not super interested, but I want to see what the hype's about.
Yeah.
The big surprise for me, honestly, was this is something that I think we've talked about for a long time, but I don't think anyone thought it was actually going to happen. Bungie leaving the whole Activision.
Yeah,
partnership thing.
that was very huge.
that was enormous to me. It
I
was just
wasn't I was not expecting them to dish out the money to buy out their contract.
in any way, shape, or form. I didn't think I if Bungie was going to leave this partnership, I thought Destiny would have to be dead for it to happen.
Like
The fact that they're
Activision kicked
leaving
them out,
with
basically.
Destiny, Activision let them go. I think this could mean good things for them, but it's going to take time.
My only concern, I'm gonna be incredibly cynical here though.
Yeah, go for it.
My concern about it though is also, why is Activision willing to give up that IP? It's clearly
Because-
not as valuable as we would like to think it is then, if that's the case. Because if this is a strictly financial decision, Activision would be silly to get rid of those rights to such a beloved product if it truly is that good. I think it's one of those weird things where it's like, I think Bungie and Activision are both probably equally at fault for Destiny's state of affairs.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I think Activision gets a lot of the flack, and I forget who said it. There's a really good example that someone put out, I think it was on Twitter or something, that was like, of someone who's a bad writer doesn't just suddenly write a good book because they get rid of a bad publisher. And that's what my concern with Destiny is that they were able to make Forsaken under the wing of Activision. They can clearly make something good.
Yeah.
I don't think no longer having Activision allows them flexibility with their business model, which is something that could be good because it could change the way they deliver content. That is a genuine possibility.
My point was that it's not that they're removing the whole negative. It's my point is that there were several negatives and they've removed one of them.
No, that's fair, and that's completely fair. It gives them control.
I think
At
it's
least now
moreover.
Oh, God.
I was just gonna say, moreover, it's less to do with Destiny in general, but more of the fact that the big trio corporation is actually starting to break down a bit, and I think that says a lot for the game industry as a whole. Because there's been so much stock into this, and it's starting to fall apart that you start to look at it as like, what's next? Is Blizzard gonna leave, or is it too integrated? Like,
I would love for Blizzard to leave.
Yeah,
I'm actually legitimately thinking that. I was like, but Bungie is now what Blizzard was. How long has it been now? Like almost 10 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Since they merged with Activision?
Oh my God, it's been 10 years since
it was during Wrath of the Lich King. I remember that. But if Bungie can become what Blizzard was, because by the sounds of it too, Bungie is actually working on other projects besides Destiny, which is good. Very good. I think if they were to... At this point, Destiny is kind of... because it's been around for so long, and it's been so hit and miss... Not to derail this conversation, but it's been so hit and miss that the problem is Destiny now has an established fan base and player base of people who clearly have expressed interest, and I don't think you're ever going to drive new people outside that franchise. Or people who... you're never going to drive new players into that franchise, because it's been...
You burn the overall gaming community a little bit too hard at this point, I think.
Yeah, with Destiny. It's been too hit and miss at times at this point. It is almost better for them to... I think it's fine for them to keep the Destiny train running for the people who love it, because clearly it's successful. But
it's still doing well.
I definitely don't think they should put a studio of 700-something people into just Destiny when you have a game like Guild Wars 2, which I've always made this comparison, but just for the sake of it, Guild Wars 2 releases about twice the amount of content that Destiny 2 does, and they have a company of 250 people. And Bungie's got a company of 700 people.
I completely agree. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about how Destiny releases content. But yeah. But yeah, those are my two biggest surprises of 2019, to be honest.
That's a pretty big surprise. I think a lot of people, especially when that first contractual obligation. Oh my God!
Are you all right? Are you stupid?
When that first contractual obligation was brought up with the 10-year plan, everyone was like, "This could either go really good or really bad."
Look at Anthem's. Anthem's the same thing.
And
That's contractual obligation with Anthem.
Anthem was given a 10-year expectation from EA, just like Destiny was. And it's Destiny 1 got lucky that the Taken King was good, to be honest.
Did they mean 10 weeks? 10 days?
Yeah, maybe it was a little ambiguous. Maybe they just put 10 blank. 10 hours.
I think
Destiny's one of those things that's very volatile, and I think there's a chance. I'm always going to hold on to that slight chance that maybe.
You're a better man than I.
Yep. No, you're right.
Forsaken was good. That's the problem, is then they release things like Forsaken, and you're like, this is actually fine. Do that again.
Shadowkeep's pretty fucking good.
I can't, though. Even my thing with... Okay, I'm not going to go into the Destiny thing, because that could be... All
right, let's move on.
That could be a video in and of itself.
Yeah.
All right, my biggest surprise for me was Katana Zero. Katana Zero was by far the game that shocked me the most. That was like this random indie game that I was like, oh, I want to try Katana Zero because it looks cool. It looks like kind of like Way of the Ninja.
I'm gonna eat the chip.
But it literally just like, it looks fine. I want to try it. And it won me over to where I played it the entire thing in a single sitting. Like 5 hours straight. Just finished the game. Wow, was it so good. And not just good because it has good gameplay in the sense that like so every enemy... If you don't know, Andrew, about Katana Zero at all, but...
I know literally nothing.
So it's a 2D side-scroller, kind of like action game. Every enemy can kill you in one hit, and you kill every enemy in one hit. This includes bosses as well. So the second something gets hit, whatever it is, it's dead. Guaranteed. And it's got this like pixel art, kind of like a Hotline Miami looking game.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
And by the sounds, like when you look at it, you're like, oh, it's just a cool little fun side-scrolling game. The level design is brilliant. So the levels genuinely feel like a puzzle every time, proper puzzle, and it's on this like perfect level of difficulty where it's tough but never frustrating. And you also have the ability to like slow down time when you're doing it. You can also like if you hit a projectile as someone shoots a bullet at you, for example, you can shoot the bullet back with your sword. You can integrate or interact with the objects in the area, which is like makes life really cool. And you can set up a lot of things within each level, and it feels really smooth. But like on top of it, what makes it really cool is that it's also really deep emotionally. It deals with stuff like war PTSD, like drug dependencies, domestic violence. It deals with like inadequacies and insecurities about like oneself. The failure to protect people, legit like opioid addiction. Like it deals with a lot of really current day problems in this kind of disguise of a dude running around as a samurai killing things. Like it's like it really seems odd. Like there's like two worlds to this game, and it does treat it that way when you're like in the level. So when you go into a level with Katana Zero, your character literally puts on a tape player and puts on headphones, and that music becomes the new music to that level. And he just kind of like goes into his own world. And that's how you play through the level. But then when he's like out of it, like when he's in his apartment or he's in like the therapist's office, it's like totally different. He's slow, he's calmed down, he's like going crazy, struggling with all this stuff. And the kind of dichotomy between those two styles of the game really do bring together this really cool and engaging like moral story about like struggle and overcoming trauma in a lot of ways. And yeah, it looks
I love the art.
And it just looks crazy though. That's the thing. I think it's so funny. It like baits you. It like knows to grab you. Okay, that was a really weird comparison. It's like Christian rock music. You go to see Skillet because the music sounds good, and then you start getting preached to. It's like one of those where you're like, oh, I go in for one thing, and then I get this like, whoa, what is that? Like, but that's Katana Zero, and it's so good. It feels so smooth, and that game it feels smooth to play. Like Way of the Ninja, just the best way I can describe it, or Mark of the Ninja, sorry. Feels so smooth.
There you go. Reasons to play Katana Zero. Slow down time itself like a fucking god. Assert your dominance by reflecting bullets right back at your foes. Tea time with Pigtail Girl.
Mm-hmm. She's the cutest little thing in the world, too, by the way. I love her. She has this little thing called, these two little toys called Leviathan and Behemoth. And they're just two little toys that she plays. I want to go into it. There's like a reason for it. It leaves all these little details that feel so good.
Alright, I need to play it. You sold me.
And it's pretty cheap. It's like $10 on Steam right now. Alright, so this is my favorite topic. The dumbest thing of 2019.
So do we refer Bethesda as a thing? Is that how this works?
Well, it depends. Can I go first then?
Yeah, go for it.
Fallout 76 is still being stupid every couple weeks.
This could be our biggest surprise of 2019 as well, because it keeps happening.
How?
Every week there's something new.
I don't get it. They should have just stopped. But like the whole year-long subscription, or the yearly subscription, the $100 a year subscription to the game, every bug fix, there's a game-breaking new bug that makes people just want to die. There's like the current one right now where there's like a fix they just made, and now people can legitimately hack you, pickpocket you from miles away in the game as long as they have remote line of sight of you.
Yeah.
And you can't do a thing about it. You just literally, your inventory disappears.
It's like a pile of shit on the ground on the sidewalk. They push with a shovel, and there's just smears all the way down.
Dude, it's pathetic. It literally, yeah, it's letting a baby shit their diaper and throwing them into a room with white walls and just seeing what they'll do. That's what this feels like, and it doesn't stop. It never ends. And it's one of those weird things, right? I saw, like, famously, I think right now, it's like there's videos from Jim Sterling, like, every couple of weeks on Fallout 76, and even he's just like, I want to stop every time I think I'm done.
The content creators are going nuts over it.
Yeah, like, there's something new. Like, and of course you don't want to, like, let that go, because sometimes, at this point, it's just so funny.
Yeah.
Like, it went through this phase where, like, by the start of it, you're like, holy crap, I can't believe this is a game that's, like, really out, and this is actually happening, to... I just want this to be over with. Like, I'm done hearing about it. Like, I get it. Fallout 76 sucks. But because it's not stopped for so long, it's like gone back around full circle where you're just like, how is this real? How is this still going on?
It's definitely the winner of dumbest things of 2019. And I'll tell you what, seeing the articles come up every once in a while, just reading them, is just like, I can't believe there's something new still going on
you
with
just
this game.
can't. You can't. And this is,
It's almost like a fever dream. Like you wake up, open your computer, and you're like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. And then they keep. Let's just make sure. By the way, this might continue in 2020 because their big new major like year one update hasn't come out yet. It comes out in January or something. So this might continue. That's the thing. Like, we have more to look forward to in 2020.
We're gonna have a breaking news podcast. Breaking news! Fallout 76.
Goodness, I love it.
Please look forward to it.
I love it, dude. It is my. If I'm ever having a bad day, I know for certain Bethesda fucks something up, and I can feel better about myself.
Oh my god. Why is Bethesda trending on Twitter this time?
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous.
Thank God they don't get to touch Doom.
Yeah, for real. Thank God it's on that one. So that's me. Who wants to go next?
All right, so I do have a second topic. That is the winner, by the way. I don't care.
Yeah, damn straight.
That is the winner.
I'm still eating chips.
Yeah, Randy's just fucking eating over here.
No, I think like it's both a big topic for the year, and it's also there's a reason why I wanted to label this under the dumbest things of 2019. But the whole PR scandal issue with Blizzard that happened over the whole Hearthstone thing. The reason why it's a contender for me for dumbest thing of 2019 is how it was handled from every single position or point of view.
Yeah.
From every single direction it was handled horribly. It was handled horribly from the players. It was handled horribly from the people spectating the issue. It was handled horribly from Blizzard. Like, a lot of it got remedied, and like at the end, like it kind of worked out. Blizzard did a very good job with how they handled it at BlizzCon. But the first week or so, it was a disaster. Like, people didn't know what the fuck to do. People were blaming everyone. People were saying, we gotta stop playing Blizzard games. We can never play Blizzard games again. And it was just like, holy shit, people, relax.
Yeah, that whole like
wait for the real news to come out and wait for like a public statement. Like, God damn, dude.
Unfortunately, cancel culture is way more prevalent now. Unfortunately,
clearly to an extreme too. But I mean, this is like
before we have all the correct information, people are doing this.
Yeah, it's like literally it happened, and within a day, #1 trending on Twitter was #delete Blizzard account, and people were just sending screenshots of them deleting their Blizzard accounts entirely.
Way to throw away your money, fucking idiot.
And you're just like, okay, hold on. Yeah, like exactly. That's what it really is. Though. It's just like, just take a second. Like, I remember Andrew and I were very much back and forth on this because we were like, we don't have the information yet. Blitzchung.
I thought I had to stop talking about it because we didn't have enough.
Blitzchung hadn't said anything extra on it. Blizzard hadn't said anything extra on it. The two people who are very clearly the biggest players in this situation hadn't said anything on it, and we were just like, we just have to wait because this is like ridiculous.
You know,
and Blizzard released their post. It was satisfactory in some areas and very unsatisfactory in other areas. But yet, man, the immediate this thing happened, I don't like it, I'm just boycotting this company forever, is such a perfect example of like extremist reality.
You know what it makes me think of?
There's no way that's going to be beneficial to anybody in anything.
You know what it makes me think of? I mean, it's entirely unrelated as far as like video games, but obviously there's a lot of controversy around like stuff in the NFL as far as like kneeling during the anthem and shit like that. And obviously one of the big promoters of that is Colin Kaepernick. Well, when Colin Kaepernick got sponsored by Nike like a year ago and everyone was burning their Nike shirts and shoes and it's like, yeah, we'll show you Colin Kaepernick and Nike. It's like, dude, you're literally burning $100 pair of shoes because you don't like a dude.
The thing is, like, I get your right to like discuss it and be very critical of Blizzard's approach, their decision, and how they handled it. You completely have that right, obviously, and I would stand by that any day of the week. What I worry about is this mindset of just a company does something, anybody, not even a company, because we saw this with the Pro Jared thing that happened this year. Actually, how many cancel culture things happened on YouTube this year that half of them ended up to be lies. Complete lies.
There is one, however, that definitely stood the test of time.
Which was a
The King Nappy one.
well, yeah, that is very unfortunate. But like what worries me is just someone makes a mistake. So what worries me long term as a gamer, specifically to bring this to gaming in particular, this is what will prevent companies from doing things new, unique, or really off kilter. Because what you might have, for example, is next year's E3, Devolver Digital does another one of their videos, which are always insane.
They're
And
amazing.
completely bonkers. I'm waiting for 1 year for them to do one thing just out of line, and that's going to be it. Because Devolver Digital is not that big of a company.
Unfortunately.
But yet they are trying and they're owning it. They are constantly doing new, creative, and innovative things. But the second they're going to make a mistake, that's it. They're going to be doomed. And that's a scary thing because all you're going to now have is stagnant art. And that's not fun for anybody.
No.
Yeah.
That's not fun for anybody. Why I said that a second time was just because.
But yeah, I don't think that there was any dumb things that really topped what we talk about.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Oh, I don't know. Activision laying off 800 people after recording record revenue was pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
there's a lot
Bobby,
of companies
Bobby,
that
how
laid
about
off
you
people, to be
fucking
honest.
stop? Anyway, so how about we go to something positive?
I love how I got my shot.
Yeah.
Let's skip Randy. I'm sorry.
I mean, do you have anything that could add to that?
I'm sorry, Randy. I honestly messed up.
No,
What
go
you got,
ahead.
Rand?
Skip me.
No, I
Nah,
messed up.
what you got?
I genuinely messed up, Rand.
Are
Dex-
you the dumbest thing of 2019, Randy?
Yes, I am. Dexit.
I mean, you did get married.
And the
Oh,
the overreaction to Dexit.
Yeah.
Do you know what
What's Dexit?
Dexit is, Andrew?
I'm
So
Googling it.
so upon the announcement of Pokemon Sword and Shield not having a national Pokedex, the internet flipped.
Yeah, you can tell.
I just read the fucking title of the article.
how what's the
flipped
title? What's the article
the
title?
fuck out. I'm not even kidding you, Andrew. Within hours of that announcement, minutes of that announcement, there were people. I'm pretty sure it was trending on Twitter like 20 minutes after the announcement. Dexit,
Yeah.
because
Or bring
people
back
were
National
boycotting
Dex is another
Pokemon
one.
because of the. They excluded 490 Pokemon from the Pokedex.
Mm.
But here's the thing, right? So this has always been my stance with Dexit. Does it suck that the National Dex isn't in the game? Yes.
It's a very valid criticism.
Here's my argument to that. I technically have two arguments. One, people kind of scoff at one way or the other, but one I find fairly relevant because it's something I find myself doing with games that allow a National Dex. Take an example from something like Pokemon X and Y when the first time I played it. That game has a National Dex. By the end of the game, most of my team was not new Pokemon.
Yeah.
It was Pokemon I've already used because they were there. Oris, National Dex.
Yeah.
I basically was using Pokemon I've already used. Sun and Moon, new Pokemon. I was basically... The trend is literally just, you get the National Dex and you just keep going back into the same formulas.
Because you know them, you're comfortable. You know exactly what the Pokemon's capable of.
What
Here's-
I love about the exclusion of these Pokemon is first off, relax. Pokemon Home is coming out, and you'll be able to bring your older Pokemon into Sun and Moon. Not Sun and Moon, Jesus Christ. Sword and Shield, that one.
Woo!
I don't want to bring anything into Sun and Moon.
So there's that. The other thing for me is I look at Pokemon a lot differently now that I've gotten into something like competitive battling and like breeding as a whole. There's something way more interesting about a meta changing from generation to generation. I'll be honest, some of the most boring VGC I've ever watched was from the end of X and Y to the beginning of Sun and Moon, because it was so boring. Because the dex was never, I say restricted only because there's no chain other than they have a couple Pokemon that are banned and a couple that are only in certain seasons of VGC. But even as far as Sword and Shield, the Pokemon in Sword and Shield, the new ones, you never feel like you're missing the other Pokemon because all the Pokemon in Sword and Shield for the most part are actually phenomenal. And
Yeah, they really are. And they're very diverse, too.
And to me, it makes for a more fun competitive scene because you get to build these new metas and build these new teams with the restrictions you're given, which I find interesting as hell.
Yeah. That was a big thing. I did my review of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it was just half the Pokemon are gone, and it doesn't feel like it because there are so
Here's
many
the
good new
problem.
ones.
Is every single Pokemon game introduces new Pokemon. You get to the point where there's thousands and thousands of them. You got to think of the people who are making these games. Do you want a good, compelling game, or do you want them to have to waste resources bringing every fucking Pokemon they've made in the past 20 plus years into this game?
Unfortunately, it has to happen, right? It eventually has to happen.
Like I said, we're up to 890 Pokemon.
It's a lot.
Like, that's a lot of Pokemon. And like I said, it builds, I think it builds a better culture and a better game overall as far as what you're able to do with the Pokemon you're given. Like, some of the strategies and a lot of the things you can do now with these Pokemon are fucking hilarious. Tell me the last time you saw a Pelipper on a competitive VGC team. Or a Torkoal.
The other day.
It's amazing. I love it.
It is great.
But my biggest thing is how unbelievably fucking stupid the internet took it. Instead of just stopping for fucking 45 seconds to think about it. And if you still didn't like it, fine. Whatever.
Yeah. There's something very different between saying, hey, I think the lack of a national dex breaks a really big part of the game that I enjoy, therefore I will not support it. I think it's a very valid statement. The statement of you're not having a national dex, I'm never buying Pokemon again, just makes you sound like an idiot. Even if that is a valid point, it makes you sound like an idiot. Especially when, let's just be real, the game is actually fine. And the one question I have, though, is why did they get rid of Pokemon, but fucking Vanillux is in the game?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
And Garbodor.
And Garbodor. Damn it.
And there's a Gigantamax Garbodor.
That's my complaint. That's my dumbest thing of 2019. Vanillux and Sword and Shield. All right, Randy, since I screwed up and didn't skipped you last time, how about you go first for the game you're most looking forward to in 2020?
So I have... Oh my god, that scared the ever-living dad out of me. Jesus Christ.
Damn Turtle. Damn Turtle, my favorite. I get to play
That was just my idea.
Fuck you. So, here's the thing, right? I got two, and one of them, I'm gonna rant.
I didn't say 2 games. I just said most looking forward to a game.
Shut up. So...
I have 3, so it's okay.
What?
So, the first one is Doom Eternal. Like,
oh, hell yeah, dude.
Like,
hell yeah.
do I need to say any more? Doom
No.
2016 was my
Stop.
favorite game of that year.
Shut your mouth.
It was...
You're done.
Shh.
You don't have to say anymore.
Hey, Jess, why don't you do me a favor and go fuck off?
Say no more.
But, like, Doom Eternal. If you've seen the gameplay footage, if you've seen the trailers, if you've played the first Doom, like, it's going to be
more
amazing.
Doom.
It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah, it looks really good.
So, my second one is also something I was arguably going to put in dumbest things of 2019, which is the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oof.
So,
That's my next topic.
So
Pressing X.
I will say I've been very outspoken as far as my negative outlook on the Final Fantasy VII remake.
We have a whole video.
Or you could just say Final Fantasy in general.
We have the whole video on the channel dedicated to you ranting about it and then destroying a copy of your favorite game.
Yeah. So there is a part of me that is so excited that my favorite game of all time is being remade.
And to give it credit, a proper, legit remake. Not just like a reskin. That could be exciting, like Resident Evil 2, for example.
But I can't help but have this nagging, screaming, bulbous growth on my back, yelling in my ear, they're gonna fuck it up. And they've done things to already show me that it's probably not going to be what I want it to be. When they first announced the ATB system, I was out. I was like, all right, I'm out.
Is this at E3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they announced the ATB system and how your gameplay is going to thrive off of this ATB system, you lost me. To me, it did not sound nearly as strategic or engaging.
Especially the item usage being
tied to the ATB bar.
Yeah, it's really odd. It's like I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it like Hollow Knight. Like, every game's trying to make combat like Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Even Control does it, to be honest. But like, it is a good idea. But the way it integrated look in Final Fantasy VII Remake looks really odd.
Not to like, because if we're gonna get into it a little later, I'm just gonna kind of bring up the main thing that really is just nagging at me. And I understand that they did announce that you can play the remake in the original form. Like you can play it time based.
Which that's actually really good. I like that a lot.
My biggest worry that I've had from the start is that they've already announced that this game is going to stop after Midgar.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're telling me, and I'm going to throw my brother under the bus. I love my brother to death. I cannot express to my brother enough how I don't think they're going to be able to squeeze 60 hours out of Midgar. Midgar. They said this game is going to be 60. This disc will be 60 hours long.
With the Midgar.
You do know that you can get through Midgar in like 4 hours, right?
Well, the other thing though with that isn't just so they could create Midgar to be 60 hours worth of content. Like that is a doable feat.
Will they though?
Well, that's also part of it too. But the other question becomes, so that's you're taking Final Fantasy VII, which is like, let's just say a 40-hour game conservatively. You have a 40-hour game, and you're going to take the first 10% of the game, and turn it into one of, because they've thrown the thing around that it's they've thrown the 3-episode thing around a couple times. You're going to turn the first 10% of the game into a third of your final product release. What does that mean for all the content between Midgar and any other part of the game? Like, so what does that turn into between Midgar and the Golden Saucer, for example?
Exactly.
Like and if it's episodic, how do you even do the Golden Saucer properly? I guess you have to do something different, which could still be new and good, but Midgar is a cool place. It's only iconic as it is because it's the first place of the game. It's not the most interesting place in 7. Not even close. So why are they spending that much time on 40 hours of a single city? Granted, it could be good, sure. But what about the rest? That could be cool. That's already really cool and could be even better than Midgar.
In the vein of like game length, since we're talking about it, like the last game they did was Final Fantasy 15, which had a severe lack of respect for game time. You can beat that game in 10 hours.
You really can.
Yeah.
It's a full Final Fantasy game.
But yet they claimed it was like 80 plus.
So, exactly. So when they're claiming that this is going to be a 60-hour section, this is going to be one of those games that comes out and it's like, why did I spend $60 on this? That's what I'm worried about.
That's... I'm not going to get too much into it, because if we're going to get back into it, I'll bring more shit up. But I am excited, because the kid in me is like, oh my god, more Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah.
But then the adult in me is like, no, shut up, you fucking idiot, go eat fucking Fruity Pebbles and shut up.
Square Enix, that's my concern, is they haven't made a good Final Fantasy game in a long time.
Yeah, it's exciting, but not in the vein of type of exciting where it's like, oh, this is positive exciting. It's just, it's exciting.
I think I have more anxiety than think excitement, about. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a combination of both, really.
Yeah.
But, all right, Andrew, what's your ting?
I have 3. I have Doom.
There you go.
Doom Turn.
It's more Doom, dude.
Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal.
You got a shotgun with a hook.
Second is Tales, the new Tales game. I'm always excited for a new Tales game.
Yeah, new Tales. Great.
We're on the the odd release now, so it might be crap. But
yep.
We'll see.
It follows the
they're pretty hit or miss.
It follows the Star Trek formula where every odd number is crappy besides 3.
Yeah, but hopefully it's good. I'll definitely play it if it is. And my biggest thing I am looking forward to. What can you guys guess what my biggest thing I'm looking forward to is?
Warcraft 3 Reforged.
No, I've been talking about this so fucking much. Not recently, actually. But Cyberpunk, man.
Oh my god!
I play Cyberpunk.
I want to play Cyberpunk so bad.
Since this fucking shit was announced, I've wanted to play it so fucking bad. And the fact it's being made by a developer I actually really respect right now, I'm incredibly excited.
CD Projekt Red has not done a single thing to make me think they're gonna fuck it up.
No.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't start here.
There's yeah. So just to say, my pick is Cyberpunk as well, and I feel weird because like there's not much to say besides like if you're interested in Cyberpunk, there's so much to see on the game. They're not hiding anything at all. I mean, you can see like there's like something like total of like 8 hours worth of gameplay, like different parts of the game on the internet, like spread around. They are not hiding anything. They are so confident in their product.
I also they should be.
Yeah.
Not even that, but I also like how they never announced the release date until they were like, okay, we're actually ready to release it now, as opposed to, we are planning for this day 2 years from now.
For example, Warcraft 3 Reforged was supposed to come out in 2019, and it's not. And they just told us like 2 weeks ago it's not coming out in 2019.
Yeah. Well, I hope not, because they have 3 days.
Yeah, it comes out at the end of January, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, Cyberpunk, it looks so good. It really does. There's nothing about it that looks bad.
It seriously looks amazing.
All right, so for me, so I'll wrap up the final topic, or I'll start it off, I should say. The biggest hope for the gaming industry in 2020. This is a bit of something that I've talked about for a long time, and I always want it, and it occasionally sneaks its head in there, but very rarely. I would love to split or to add more layers between business models and budgets than just AAA or indie. I would love more companies to embrace a $30 or $40 budget title like Ninja Theory did with Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, like Nintendo originally clearly attempted to do with Splatoon and changed it kind of last minute in order to do free release content throughout a year with the original Splatoon, because that game was announced at $40, last minute got changed to $60, but from it we got
2 years of free content.
Yeah,
way more than $60.
Yeah, 100%. But I still would have been. I think that company could have made more money, and people would have been just as happy if it was $40 to start and $40 for the total amount of content across the 2 years. I think that really we need to split from just AAA or indie. I think it's a really bad system. And while indie games are able to make a good amount of money, you're already kind of starting to see it where there's a lot of indie games that are like bigger than a traditional indie game, and they're charging like $20, $25. Like they're starting to creep that number up because they're able to make something bigger and more. And I want that to be embraced by bigger companies too. Even genuinely, even something like a big publisher like Nintendo or Activision or EA, to just get a company to be making these budget titles that are
not Bethesda.
What's that?
I said not Bethesda.
No, not Bethesda. But like they can afford to make these risks because it's less budget going in, and they're not like going to be struggling with it. Like Life is Strange is a perfect example. Life is Strange was this like side project, but after Remember Me, so that way they could work on the next title, and it was a budget title that came out to like $25 total. And it was amazing. Everything. And it was incredible because they could take more risks and do something really creative because they weren't dumping hundreds of millions of dollars into this one product. The amount of money that goes into gaming budgets right now is actually just a sign of some really shitty business people in the industry. And that's why
makes me sick.
What's that?
It makes me sick.
And that's why you're getting these kind of crazy things of people getting completely overworked in the workplace, like obnoxiously. And even companies like CD Projekt Red have been known to do this, where they like overwork people. But the difference between CD Red and other companies is at least Red is like, yeah, we kind of let you make it known up front. And if you don't like it, like it's cool, we get it. Like we're not ever going to support, like force you into it. And they do compensate really well for doing it.
They do.
But like Epic, for example, hires you as a contractor for Fortnite, and you get paid 50 hours that week, man. That's it. If you work 85, oh well, you get to keep your job. That's
sucks to suck.
Yeah, but it's because everybody's just throwing more money, and you get a game like Hellblade, which is getting a sequel, which is incredible.
Which, by the way, was just announced as an Xbox Series X exclusive.
That means it's coming on PC, so I'm fine.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of Microsoft lately, is it's like I can confidently
You don't want to buy a
company.
coffee table?
What's that?
I say you don't want to buy a coffee table?
I already have one. That's my thing. I would love that business model to like really take off. Blizzard did that with Overwatch. Let's actually remember that. Overwatch was $40 at launch.
On PC.
On PC. But, like, and look where it sold the most.
PC.
By a lot. And look how many people bought that game. Do you think that maybe part of it was because it was $20 less than a full-time title game? Because they admitted they don't think they had enough money to reliably charge $60. That is a very admirable... Me neither. But it's a very admirable approach. And because of that, they've earned it. All right, who wants to go next?
Andrew, because he forced me to go second last time.
Okay. I have 3 things. One.
Come on!
Well, listen, they're all short, and I don't talk that much. I'll fuck off. Final Fantasy 7 to not suck hot garbage. I think we already covered that pretty well.
Yeah, please don't suck.
Please, for the love of God, Zelda / Metroid news. Yeah, I need more Zelda and Metroid in my life.
You know what?
We've heard nothing, and I want it.
Did you hear the bad news about Metroid Prime 4 that came out this year?
Shut up. Yep. Shut up.
No.
So
wait, what?
That's my worry. That project has restarted from scratch, Randy.
Yeah, Retro Studios.
That's really sad.
Yeah,
that's
I know.
It's sad and good. It's news.
Yeah, it could be good because Retro is now starting it from scratch.
That's what I'm saying, though.
I legitimately think, I know, who was it that said it? I forget who said it. I actually think we might get the Breath of the Wild sequel in 2020. I actually think it could happen.
A lot of people are saying that, and I hope it does.
Yeah, there's a lot of murmurs throughout the industry, or not the industry, but throughout like Nintendo, that this was a preparation while Breath of the Wild was being made.
Oh, yeah.
Like, very smart on them.
Good, because what else do they have coming out in 2020?
Yeah, Animal Crossing.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's not typically, to be fair, you can't claim that the Zelda fan and the Animal Crossing fan base correlates that well. I don't think it's that much of a crossover, really.
Can you imagine if Isabelle was an NPC in Zelda?
I mean, I'm going to play both anyway, so it worked out. So what's your other one? What's your final one?
So, more Zelda Metroid news. That could be a lot broader to literally just Nintendo. Like we were just talking about, there's not a lot of big releases they've talked about yet.
And they've been killing it the last couple of years, too.
Yeah.
Like, their 2017 seriously one of the best years a company could have ever had.
Oh, yeah.
My biggest hope for 2020 is I miss playing Destiny, man. I want to see it get better. I want to see do some really cool stuff now that they technically have their shackles off. I want to see them prove me wrong. Right. Prove a lot of other people wrong that think it's just going to stay.
I'm right here. Right here, Andrew.
Yeah. I can't see it, but I'll believe you.
Andrew, I gotta talk to you, buddy. This is coming from the heart. You gotta let them go. They're abusing you. They don't respect you.
I didn't play Destiny for a year, dude.
They don't respect you. Yeah, but you went back. Like they played you. They said they were gonna change. They said they were gonna be better this time. They weren't gonna hit you.
I'm going to bed.
You should call your mom because the pizza's here. But we
made it 2.5 hours, and now you bring out the memes.
I told you were a meme.
I really hope. I hope for Bungie's case because I love that company and I love what they could possibly do being on their own.
100%.
So it's not even for Destiny. I want to see some. I need some good news, man. I want to see some companies come back. I want some good news.
Yeah, I would love to see Blizzard do the same.
That ain't gonna happen.
Shut up, Randy.
Randy, what you got?
For Blizzard to come back.
So mine's...
You want snow?
Yes,
yeah, I get days off.
Hey, we're at school now, fucking dick. Cool guy. What's up, dude? So my biggest my biggest thing is something that I kind of preach for every year, but obviously we always get let down.
Preach it, brother.
Is for, especially this year in particular, there have been a lot of AAA developers that have really stayed on the straight and narrow and kind of foregone shitty business practices. Like, let's look at Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah. We all thought we were going to get some sort of cut content. Nope. It was a full game, and they said we're getting DLC. Yeah. Full-fledged DLC.
No in-game shop, nothing.
Modern Warfare. Finally, free maps.
Yeah, I know.
No selling us actual weapons. Like, no bullshit.
Yeah.
My hope, as it is every year, is for these AAA companies to really see the positive feedback from when they do the good thing and not fuck it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just really, like, I understand money, margins, profits. I get it. But when your customer is happy is when you're going to make the most money.
Yeah.
Like, their initial Jesus Christ, purchase is jack
Pointless.
shit if they don't keep playing your fucking game.
Mm.
Like if they buy your game and tell 10 of their friends to not buy it because it's garbage, there's 10 sales you lost. But look at how many people probably bought Jedi Fallen Order and said, yo, EA made an actually good Star Wars game, and people went out and bought it.
I might buy it. I might actually
Dude,
get it.
perfect
because you guys
example.
said something about it.
I was playing it, and Riley came in and goes, "Oh, that's awesome! Who made that?" So I told him, and he goes, "Oh." I was like, "There's no shitty microtransactions or anything in this game," and he bought it that night and played through it.
Like,
Perfect example.
I just want things. I think we're starting to slowly see them trickle out. Like things like season passes, you see way less of nowadays.
Thank God.
I
That
would
is like the worst business model ever.
I would really like to see battle passes trickle out of fully developed games.
Mm.
Like, it's not invasive in something like Modern Warfare, but it doesn't need to be there.
It like rides the line. It's like the difference between Dota 2 and League of Legends. Like a lot of people will defend League of Legends, but Dota 2 does their business model better. Like that's the thing.
100%.
Like that's the thing. Like the battle pass is less intrusive than what it used to be, but it could still be significantly better.
I just want to see games go back to games instead of these tries at squeezing money out of you.
Mm.
Like, I understand there's the whole battle pass mentality of, well, you get the free version. It's like, yeah, but if I pay, I get it all. Like,
so I actually used to be against this, and I think this is something that could actually work today. Where when the new Killer Instinct remake was coming out, it was either free to play and you could buy character packs, or you could pay $60 and get the whole game. I'm okay with that, actually. Like, as I've sat on it over the years, I think I'm actually okay with that. Here's a New Earth did that as well, where you could pay nothing and you'd get characters, like the characters would release, and you might be able to play them like a week after they technically released for people who played the game. Or you could pay $30 and you get the entire game and every new character that ever comes out, and a discount on any cosmetic in the shop. Like, I think more abilities to buy, or different packages to buy games like that. If you're going to go the service model route, like something that involves a battle pass like COD, I think it's okay if there's multiple different packages. Why, for example, do I have to spend $60 on COD if I know for a fact I'll never play the single player?
Yeah,
that would be great. That would be great. In fact, when you launch the single player on PC, you can tell it launches a different client.
yeah.
So they're separate anyway. That's fine. I'm just saying that because I think I want to take your idea like that one step further. I like that a lot, and I think they really could just. This could be different entirely.
I just want to see,
especially in the age of digital distribution, you're no longer restricted to, we have to make a physical product and ship it to a store and pay for retail space. You don't have to do that nearly as much, so you can afford to make different versions of your title.
to put it simply, I
Ubisoft
literally
does it.
just want to see games go back to games.
Yeah, or my biggest thing is, can we have? I'm okay with services. I disagree with people like Jim Sterling who say games as a live service is a bad business model. I completely disagree because I've played one for years. It's called an MMO, and it was a when it's good, it's the best. It seriously is. It's the most reliable form of content you'll ever have.
And there's no experience like it.
Yeah, it's worth every penny. But at the same time, I am getting sick and tired of everything being guised under this service model principle. It does get fatiguing, and that's why I think games like The Witcher 3 stand out so much. Is because it's like a game that did proper expansions again for a very good value and very good content. Cyberpunk better do the same, but
I hope so.
that's my other thing with the Final Fantasy VII thing. Not to bring it even further, but that's what worries me as well. Feels like they're treating it like a service rather than a game. Well, all right. I think we made it, boys. You know, I was talking to
2019.
to Randy. It's 2018. Shit, something's wrong.
Wait, what? Oh, fuck.
I was I was talking to Randy, and I was like, Randy, I think we give ourselves an hour. That'll be fine. Whoops. You know what I love? I hope if any of you who watched this made it this far, seriously, go do something else with your life. But two, also very much thank you. Thank you very much. I would love to do more of these. I think I had a fun time at least. Hope everyone else did. I would like to one up Andrew right now for being such a great for helping make this layout and for helping organize this and participating. It was very, very great. Randy for always bringing his charm and sexiness, and also helping me set up lights. And we're gonna get him a new camera. At some point, because we're using a really crappy old webcam for him.
Dude, it's so crappy I can't even see it, man.
How's my blue screen going for you? It's still
pretty blue.
It's still pretty engaging.
Blue.
But yeah,
Here,
honestly,
you know what? I'll send you. This is my Discord.
You sending me a screenshot of what it looks like? Or are you changing the camera? I mean, I'm in either way. But yeah, I think so. The song's pretty good. That's a good Discord. That's literally a blue screen. But thank you anyone for watching. Thank you to Randy and Andrew for participating in this. This was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing this. I'd love to do more. So let's round off 2019 and
shit-faced.
Hope. Yeah, but I hope 2020 is good. 2019 was a pretty. I would say it's a fine year in gaming.
It's not a bad year, but it's not.
Yeah. I'm okay with it overall.
It's better than 18.
Yeah, 18 was a lot. Let's hope that E3 this year doesn't suck, because E3 last year was
awful.
Really bad. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. We'll all see you next time. We actually have to do a quick thing, because I forgot. Andrew, do you want to shout anything out for you? You can do it. It's all right.
Go try Code Vein. Go play Final Fantasy 14. That's all I got.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, seriously, if you see the thing on the bottom, please join the Discord. We love talking. We talk about games. If somebody is in there every freaking part of the day. Seriously, it's pretty great. There's also
probably this guy.
There's also Cancer Chat if you want to really just become a disgusting human being and enjoy that. Please feel free. That has to get a shout out.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
But we have a very wide range of games that we play. So, but yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Enjoy. I suck at outros.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Peace.
On it.